In 2025, I read 234 volume 1s of manga, and today we are going to tier list all of them. So this will be the third year that I have done this now, where I've tier listed every volume 1 that I have read in that given year. I started with my reads in 2023, I did 2024, and now we're doing 2025. The only difference is the number of volume 1s I read in the last two tier listing videos was considerably smaller than this one. According to my spreadsheet, in 2023 I read 166 volume 1s, in 2024 I read 154, and then 2025 I read 234. But in general, I just did a lot more reading in 2025, so I'm not like too surprised, I guess. And I kept having like periods where I would focus specifically on reading volume 1s. So to be eligible, I just need to have read the volume 1 in 2025. It doesn't necessarily have to have released in 2025. However, I do think the majority of what I read did actually come out last year. I was not too bad at staying up to date with volume 1s as they came in. Not the best, but not the worst. Let's amble over to the tier list and get going, because I think this is probably going to be a long one. Okay, here's our tier list, and here is the covers of everything I read. We have a lot. There's a lot. Is that all of them? I think that's all of them. Yeah, I think it's all of them. Also, I said I wasn't going to do the Faku, but I forgot to filter them out, so we might do those anyway. I can't remember exactly how I did my tiers in previous years, so I've winged it. If it's matches, great. Generally, I'm a fairly positive reader. My average rating out of 10 is a 7, so I have more tiers in the positive side. So S is like my absolute favourite. I love it. One of my favourite reads of the year for sure. I would definitely recommend. A tier, really loved it. Would still recommend. B, I liked it, kind of liked it. Whether I recommend it or not would probably depend on your tastes. C, I was indifferent to it. I didn't really love or hate it, but I don't really have much more to say on it. D, I wasn't really a fan. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it. And then F, I really did not like this. I very slightly attempted to randomize this. It doesn't you can't randomize it for you, so everything was just alphabetical because that's how I had the images saved. I've tried to drag them around to randomize them, but the site does not seem to be liking the number of images that I have uploaded. Let's get into this. It's getting late and it's technically a school night for me. I do have Una next to me. I don't think I can show you. No, she's napping, but now she's taking my hand, but that's fine. I only need one hand for the mouse. Okay, first off, we have Campfire Cooking Another World. For me, starting off strong, this was an S tier. Really loved it. It is an isekai, it's fun, it's lighthearted, slice of life. Actually a series that I've been wanting to get in print, so I was elated. I realised I could change them to portrait so we can actually see the whole cover. Though now we've got even less room to see everything. We'll see when we get more on if we change it back to square. Home Sweet Home, probably a B. I did quite like it. It was a cute, oh no, we have to live together kind of trope. It's also very short, and I do think I have picked up a whole of the volumes of the series. I'll read them together. Tend to try and hold off these sort of series till it's all complete, because otherwise I forget names. Yeah, I don't think it really left like a massive impression, but it was cute. I See Your Face Turned Away again. A B. I'll put it in a B. Again, high school romance. What I did quite like about it is that we were kind of focusing on different characters throughout the volumes. Everyone seemed to be sort of highlighted in their own way, and we were following their love stories, struggles. But again, I felt a bit indifferent to it. I Want to Be Your Girl, also B, but probably higher than these two if I was to put it in the B scale. It was really nice seeing like the love and acceptance between the characters in this. It was also really nice to see that this is coming under the Ink Pop imprint, which is aimed at a more younger audience. I hope to see this sort of picked up with younger readers in the West especially. BL Rebirth, also B. We've got a lot of Bs, but we've got a lot to go through, don't worry. Usually this will probably skew. B is still positive, by the way. I did like it, just I liked it. I didn't love it. BL Rebirth is a girl who's been isekai'd into a BL romance game, but as the younger character of the main character, and his route has ended, and now this character is experiencing the other love interests post not being chosen and are quite sad. And they seem to be letting this out on them. Definitely need more to read, and it kind of can border a bit on like, oh no, in how some of the characters behave to our main character. That's probably why it's more in the B and not in the A. Drac, D tier. Started strong. really was enjoying it. The vampire werewolf romance. It being complete in 3 volumes definitely took a toll. It was a very odd rushed ending and I didn't really enjoy it, unfortunately. I liked volume 1. It just didn't stick the landing. Is that actually unfair of me to be rating volumes past volume 1 for this? Who cares? It's my tier list. Faku, I'm going to put Faku's in F. F for Faku. Bunny mating season. Yeah. Two Perfect Saint, also a B tier. I haven't read past volume 1 of this. Reading more might help me change my mind. I did like the premise. I like the idea. It's my kind of thing where she's actually doing all the work and finally she's found people who recognize her for it. Actually, you know what? Maybe a low A tier. A low A tier, actually. I do have some more volumes to read, so I need to do that to be able to solidify what tier I'd put it in. Farewell Daisy, F tier. This was not good, which is really unfortunate because I believe it had a lot of hype around it. It's a collection of short stories by the same mangaka as Kowloon Generic Romance. I found it a bit odd though. I felt like it was almost trying to big up a woman's sexuality and a woman's in control of all that, but I feel like the message was almost the complete opposite, about a woman's worth being tied to whether she'd sleep with a guy or how much a guy would pay for her, quite literally in one of the chapters. It just left a bit of a bad taste reading it, to be honest. And I know I'm definitely not the only one with that opinion. A lot of people, especially people who are big fans of Kowloon, read it and were like, oh, that's not what I was expecting, which is a shame. Yeah, definitely. Don't read that. I'd do it. Feisty Omega and Twin Mates C. I was pretty indifferent. It was a smutty BL with twins. Omegaverse style. I was shocked to see that it isn't a one-shot though. I have volume 2 and I think there's more coming. I'm not sure how long it is exactly, but there is, I think, at least a volume 3. I'm not sure. Fake Fact Lips, A tier. One of the things I found last year that really helped me get into my reading was setting really mini challenges each month. And the mini challenge I set myself in June was to read all of my 7Cs large format BL one-shots. I know. Do you have that many volumes that meet that criteria? I had 10 or 11 volumes that met that criteria. And Fake Fat Lips was one. I think it was actually my favourite of the lot that I read. I think I've definitely found reading more and more BL that my type of BL is when both characters are a little grumpy, they're a little moody, and they are a bit snippy with each other in some capacity. That seems to be what I go for with my BL, and Fake Fat Lips is just that. 2 colleagues who have been competing in various ways through school, through college, through uni, and now they work together and they're also competing, and they end up just getting together, and it's yeah. Though I say that, it is one of those very annoying series where, sure, it's a one-shot, but then it actually has a sequel with a subtitle, and I'm like, what am I doing with this in my spreadsheet? Could you stop it? Do I say that it's a 2-volume series, or do I just have 2 separate entries? Baki. Baki is currently a B tier. I understand Baki, picks up the more you read. I have so far only read volume 1, but because it does finish releasing this year, because they're releasing 2 volumes a month from September to September, I'm going to finish reading it this year to have a better formed opinion. Again, I did quite like it. It was quite fun. Everyone was just beating each other up. But there hasn't really been that much that's happened so far. Jean Bride, B tier, but probably bit above Becky maybe. I think my only issue with Jean Bride, and I know it's a personal issue, it's a me issue, not trying to rag on the series or anything, is a good chunk of it is a mystery, weird things are happening, why are they happening, and I'm just getting confused. So I'm not feeling I'm really enjoying reading it because I'm I just don't really get what's happening, and I don't feel like I'm reading a mystery where ooh, what's gonna happen. I'm just I don't really understand where we're going. I have volume 3 and it is complete at 4, so I might wait for volume 4 and then read 3 and 2 together, because going through volume 2 I don't really quite get it, but I was really enjoying some of the commentary around being a woman and living as a woman in Japan. That stuff was quite interesting and to read about, hence why I've put it as a B. But the other stuff around the oddness and the twists, I'm not following. Sorry. From old something country. It's a country bumpkin, something another. It's a fantasy. I'm putting it in D tier. It's a harem series where all these girls seem to have been taught by this very well-trained professional swordsman, and he's kind of like been sort of a recluse, and he's sort of come to the kingdom capital to help out or something. And they're all really excited to see him, and they're like, oh, getting a bit smitten. All of them, all of the young women apparently were trained by this one older guy. Maybe D tier is a bit harsh, maybe C tier, because from volume 1 at least, I don't hate it, but I'm completely indifferent. I don't think I've bought any more volumes. I might have picked up volume 2, but I haven't read it, and I'm not rushing to pick up any more for a while yet. Girl Crush, this is a high B tier for now. I've only read volume 1. Idol series seem to be on the up and up at the moment. That is like the big thing. And I did enjoy this one, but again, I feel like I probably should have read more to be able to build a better idea of how much I liked it. I did actually have a gap for a while. That might have been why I've not really read much of it, but I've been enjoying the idleness as something I'm not really into in like the real world, like actual idols, like J-pop, K-pop. It's not really something I follow, but I've been interested in reading about it. Magical girls. Is it gushing over magical girls? Right, okay. So, in theory, the premise I did vaguely enjoy. The kind of like sadistic magical girl fighting until I got to the end and they went, yeah, the character is 14. And I'm like, no. I do not understand why you had to make it that sexualized and then go, yeah, the 14. No, it's grim. It's gross. Why? Why couldn't they have been like 17? I don't see how that would really change the plot. They could still be in school if that's something that you're really keen on, but no. I don't vaguely avoided it, but I couldn't remember why, and then picked it up blindly in store. And yeah, I was like, okay, I'll read it. It's plastic wrapped. It's DGen December. Heroic Tale of Villainous Prince. I quite like this. I think I'm just so sappy for like fantasy romances. I don't think it's an isekai. No, it's not an isekai. But yeah, this prince is born and he's got dark coloured hair, which is a symbol of evil, oncoming doom, something like that. It's quite common. Weirdly, I've found in fantasy series that darker hair is either like more magical or your doom. And this girl has been, I think she's like engaged to one of the other princes, and he breaks the engagement, and then this villainous prince comes through and is like, well, I'll marry you then. Turns out he's actually been in love with her for a long time, and he isn't a villain. He's a very kind person. That's been the plot. And I quite really ate it up. I don't think it's long. If I remember looking it up, I was quite surprised to see it's only single digits and that's complete. Hiryasumi, S tier. It's just such peak slice of life. It's wonderful. It's calming. Highly recommend. There isn't really a plot. If you're not interested in slice of life with no plot, then probably not for you. But otherwise, yes. Hatsune Miku acute, right? F tier, maybe. I'll put it in high F tier. It can go above the FAQ. FAQ can go at the bottom. Actually, no, gosh, that can go at the bottom. Every Hatsune Miku series that I have read so far has just been downright cursed. This one was like, you look at that cover and you're like, oh, isn't that cute? And maybe it's based on a song and the lyrics of the song should have potentially highlighted what was going to happen. But yeah, I went in blind and it was downright deranged. What is it with the Miku series? Are any Miku series just nice and pleasant? Does Miku do cute things? Does Miku not, like, do the things she keeps doing in these series? I just can't. Jeanette the Genius. Jeanette the Genius is a definite, it's probably a low A tier. Not an isekai, again, kind of a fantasy. It's not that, like, fantasy, I suppose. Just sort of a period romance. The girl is so peppy, her dad is missing, and her evil stepmother has kicked her out of the house. And she is determined that she must make her own way, and she's bringing her fiancé down, so she's going to break off the engagement so he doesn't feel like she's a burden. Turns out she doesn't realise how much he loves her and is going to protect her and look after her. And it's just sort of the two of them trying to start businesses and make a living. It's kind of fun. It's kind of cute. Not overly high stakes, which I quite like. and she's super peppy. Dog's Red. Dog's Red is probably an A tier. I read volume 1 and I loved it. I think I gave it 10 out of 10. And then I read volume 2 a few months later and I was like, I don't remember who any of these characters are, what is happening? And I just couldn't get into it as much. So I don't want to completely mark down the series because of that, but I do feel it's definitely a series I'm going to have to binge. I'm going to have to wait for a bunch of volumes to come out and read them together. Just because I loved volume 1 so much, I want to feel the same when I read the rest of the volumes, which means I need to wait. It's the same person as Golden Can We, and that is complete at 31 volumes, so in my head, Dog's Red is also going to be a long series. I don't know if I'd wait till it's complete to read it, or maybe 5 or 6 volumes, then go in again. Okay, we had a bunch of steamship this year. We have His Sensual Whisper. I'm going to put it in C tier because I don't really remember specifically. There was a lot of Office steamship that came out and so many of them blurred. I think this is like she's turned on by his voice. And yeah, it was fine. It's steamship. I mostly enjoy all steamship, but so many of them are so bland and generic, and I would say His Sensual Whisper was fine. It's probably not my go-to rush to recommend one though. Emperor's Caretaker, A. I think I quite like that one, but I'm struggling for words on what it was about or why I liked it. Romance, probably. Right sucker for romance at the moment. I'm running for Crown Princess, but all I want is a steady paycheck. It's a solid B tier. It's my kind of like, again, fantasy period romance, but it's not good. I just enjoyed it. Yeah, it's about this girl who her family is a bit low on funds, so she is asked if she would partake in the Crown Princess running, and she's like no, and then they'll let you get paid for it even if you don't like become Crown Princess, and she's like, sign me up. Except it's looking like she is the one that gets on with the prince, because of course she is. Just like Mona Lisa, probably a lower A tier. I thought it was a really interesting talk about gender and identity. And again, it's one of those series where they use like a burst of colour to accentuate something. And in Just Like Mona Lisa, they use blue ink for the colour of the main character's eyes. And it's just really striking. I only managed to read 2 volumes because then I was missing volumes, but I did pick up some more recently, so I'm going to try and read them again or continue reading in June. How I Attention All Guys Mixer. High C tier. It was fine. It's fine. It's about these guys who have attended a mixer and they think, oh, I thought we were here to meet women. And they are women and they're cross-dressing because they work in a cross-dressing bar, I think. And the guys are like, I have mixed feelings on this, but they're kind of into it. And they're kind of pairing off at this point. But I've only read the first volume. It was kind of cute, but like, I wasn't like raving for it. It was fine. Something Neighbor Omega, A tier. I really like this one. This might be another one where it's a one-shot. But I'm not, same with Fake Fat Lips, like, I'm mad about it, but I'm also not mad about it because they're the ones I've really enjoyed, so there being more story for these I'm quite good with. Yeah, it turns out the neighbor is an Omega, or he is an Omega and the neighbor's an Alpha, I can't remember which way around it is, and then they're like delinquents and they go to town with each other. Firefly Wedding, I'd say a mid A tier. This is a good mid A tier, so we'll put you there. Absolute toxic romance. I don't know what the period setting, is that the right term for it? I like that they're both a bit insane for each other, and I heard it's complete in Japan as well. I don't know how long it's going to be till we get all the volumes, but complete. Diary of a Female Lead, C tier, mostly because I don't really remember it, but High School Romance, and generally I'm fine with those, I enjoy them, but because I don't really remember it, yeah. I know a lot of people do like it, so that's probably more a me thing, but I don't want to really, like, start, like, I'm not going to rank it up or down if I don't remember too much about it. But I've also not rushed to read any more or pick up much more. Some series like this, I think Home Sweet Home, and there is another one, maybe in here. I've been seeing the volumes in, like, sale sections on Blackwell's Off Bin Planet, so biding my time, I will read them, but I'm going to pick them up. Almark, this is probably a low A tier as well. This is like a fun, like, I was going to say fun, it's quite dark fantasy, it's a bit brutal. This guy in the north where the barbarians live, is at war. It turns out he has this aptitude for magic, and this like traveler who actually runs a magic school somewhere south is like, you should come attend the school when you're a bit older. But because of the war going on, it takes him a few more years than expected to travel south to attend the school, and volume 1 is pretty much just the setup, him traveling and him arriving at the school, and it looks like we're going to have a while to another volume. Now, big sucker for magic, big sucker for magic schools. There's actually a couple more on this list, so I did really enjoy it, but I feel like we've only just got going, and it looks like we've got a bit of time till the next release, unfortunately. Kill Blue, sort of a mid-B tier. Assassin, spy, hitman guy has accidentally been turned into a kid, and he's been sent to school to look after a character who's at risk. It was fun and it was silly. I quite liked it. I have the next few volumes, but I'm gonna hold off picking up too much more until I've read those. Kingdom, C tier. I read volumes 1 and 2 between Christmas and New Year. I was really determined to read them before the end of the year because I wanted to talk about it on this tier list before loads of volumes came out. I know there's loads of controversy about, is it going to sell well, or people already like doom and glooming it. I think a problem, as someone who does not know the story at all, I'm going in very blind. I'm also going to keep picking it up because that's what I do. And I have seen people talk about it before, but the first couple of volumes are pretty slow. It did take me some time to get into it. It's not like there isn't anything happening. There was lots of things happening. There's like death and fighting and traveling and all that jazz, but lots of people keep like, it takes a bunch of volumes to get into it, which I feel like people talk, it's like how people talk about One Piece, which is fine. I'll keep picking it up, I'll keep reading. I really do like long series because I feel like you get that sort of payoff of like throwbacks and characters, backgrounds building up, see them develop a lot. You don't really get too many long series getting prints nowadays. So I'm quite excited to see it build up, but I do think if it's this slow at the beginning, it's going to put a lot of people off who are like, let's see what it's like, it's got loads of hype. I'm happy to be proven wrong, I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love a whole bunch of other long-running series to get prints as well, but I still think it's wild to get singles for this. Takahashi from the Bike Shop. S tier. I've loved it. It's a adult romance in that they are adults. Them spending time together has been lovely. They're super supportive, but also it feels more realistic. It's not all like cutesy and nice things go wrong. There's problems. They need to like communicate and talk to each other, and I've absolutely loved it. Highly recommend. Tiger and Dragon. This is another one. This is the other one I was thinking of about like high school romances. I put this low B tier. It is a I was gonna say it's a threesome. No, it's a love triangle. And I did kind of like the premise in that this girl had this like childhood romance love that had to move away, and she's like, I'm gonna wait for him, and then decides, actually no, it's been like 6-10 years or something, I need to move on. Starts having crushes on the neighbour just for the childhood friend to return. Poor gal. And then it's like, what do I do? Complete it full volumes, and I do have all full volumes, so probably I'll just binge it in the next month or so. And I think that's kind of why I'm rating it in a B. Love triangles I'm like hit or miss on quite a lot, but when it can be short and sweet, I just hope she chooses someone, and I hope she doesn't go with both of them. Level Up with the Gods, A tier. This is just my kind of series. Stats. We got fighting. The guy has gone back in time because things went to hell. So he's like already knows what's going to happen, and he's gaming the system to get extra like stats and skill points and stuff. And I can't believe it's been so long between volume 1 and 2. I think 2 is out soonish. It's in the next month or so. Do I think it's great? I don't think it's great, but I'm enjoying it a lot. If you enjoy those kind of stat series where you get like the pop-up dialogues and stuff, kind of like in Soul Leveling or Overgeared or Omniscient Reader, definitely give it a go. Midnight Secretary. I am so sorry to people who love Midnight Secretary. It is an F tier. I really, really disliked Midnight Secretary, and I know a part of that is because it's an older shoujo, it's of its time, and I came in reading it like in my late 20s, in 2025, and it's, yeah. But I couldn't get over, any of the characters. They're all terrible, they all treat each other terribly. I couldn't feel like I could even enjoy like hot vampires or anything because they were just so gross. Oh, apologies if you enjoy it. Apologies. Beauty and the Beast tells all the time, a low A tier. Oh my gosh, are we already on 2 lines? We have so many to go through. I might have to film this over a couple of evenings so I don't die. Tales All This Time is a manga adaptation of a novel, Twisted Tales novel, where they do sort of what ifs on Disney series, and this is the one on Beauty and the Beast, and this what if is what if Belle's mother was the one who cast the curse. It's complete in 2 volumes. I love Beauty and the Beast. It is definitely a darker take on the Disney tale. Darker, not really dark, just in comparison. My only little pet peeve around it was a large amount of the story is actually surrounding her mum, obviously, because that is kind of what the what if is about. But we do spend a lot of volume 1, like what happened back then, what was her mum doing, why was her mum a sorceress, all that. So we don't actually spend as much time with Belle as I would probably enjoy, which is why it's lower A tier, because I wish we had more Belle. Dear Door, a high B tier, probably. I can't move. Oh, there we go. I didn't really understand what was happening. At first, I thought the door was his butt. I don't think the door was his butt, based on what people have said. But there was just a lot of, like, wild boning. I enjoyed the comedic representations during the bone from the demon. That was excellent. Best part, I just need to read more, really, because I'm reading this and I'm like, I don't really understand this plot. We had a bunch of BL manhwa, smutty BL manhwa from 7 Seas this year. Everyone was super hype. Okay, next we have Little Miss Vampire Don't Suck Right. C tier. I was incredibly ambivalent. I wasn't that fussed about it. It's a cutesy, kind of episodic high school, middle school romance, maybe. They're definitely on the younger side, where this girl's a vampire, needs to suck blood and isn't very good at it. So and this guy in a class, let's suck his blood to practice. And it's meant to be really cutesy, but I didn't hit for me. It was like, ugh. I felt a bit more cringe, I feel, over cutesy, personally. Indigo, F tier. Is it an F tier? Yeah, I think it's an F tier. So I feel a bit bad because this was sent to me by the publisher, but I will say I think the quality of the volume was really nice. I really liked the quality of the volume. It was nice to hold. It felt firm. It felt structural. So I have continued to pick up series from the same publishing company. The series itself, Indigo, I'm very confused at the fact that it has a number 1 on the side. But the main issue with it is it felt like they were trying to cram like 10 volumes worth of story into 1 volume. It was incredibly rushed. It was very disjointed. And I was like, is it just me? Something I tried to do a lot more this year was on series that I both really loved and really hated. I'd go and read reviews to try and find people with the opposite point of view to me. Because I kind of like the idea of seeing, okay, I hated it. What did people like about it? Or I really loved it. What do people not like about it? Because I feel like it helps me form a more rounded opinion where I can understand both sides of the argument if I can't necessarily see the other side myself. And with Indigo, I went and looked up reviews. They were all negative. They were all saying the same thing. It was just so rushed, confusing. How did this happen? Why is she here? There was scene jumps with no explanation. Characters seemed to just come and go. Someone died at some point, but I don't know if they really explained who died. I don't know. And then it kind of ended. It was like 5 pages or something where it was like, choose the fate of humanity. And she's like, okay. And then she wakes up and is like, it's a new day. What? What happened? But I will keep picking up stuff from the publisher. Astro Royale. I'm currently going to put it in an A tier because I really liked Volume 1. I love series where the characters they have like abilities and they're like weird types of abilities and we see them fight these weird types of abilities together. So like in One Piece you have Devil Fruit, in My Hero you have Quirks, and in this they're called Astros. And then also the story going on in the background is this sort of gang war for land. Who's gonna run the land area? I've forgotten what the word is. Turf. Is that right? I am a bit unsure though, because I remember I looked it up. I was about to read volume 2 and I was like, let me just check how long this is. And yeah, I was right in that it does look like it was cancelled at about 6 volumes, which is a shame. A lot of reviews seem to be saying that it is quite similar to the manga's previous work, which I think was Tokyo Revengers. Just this time they have powers. So A tier for now with just volume 1. I haven't read past that yet, but I'm not going to finish the series till the rest of it's out yet. Betrayed by the hero, I formed a MILF party. I am putting in D tier because on one side I did find it incredibly amusing in that in this story, this guy who basically managed and held together the hero's team is kicked out by the hero because he sees him as a threat. He just wants his hero's team to be women, basically, to sleep with them all. And he kicks the guy out and they all start to fall apart because he was holding them together. And then this guy ends up kind of forming a party with all of the mums of the people in the hero's party. Hence the title. On one side, I'm like, that's really funny. But on the other side, we also get, he's a guy that's isekai'd. He's 15, she's 30, he has to buy her as a slave, and then they get married and they sleep together, and it's just like, why did we have to make him 15? Why? I think there's going to be a trend in some of these where they refer to women as like old maids if they hit their like mid to late 20s, and I have, as of like not very long ago, like days ago, turned 30. I've gotten a bit more sensitive and I'm like, and it is a gross mindset as is. So yeah, as much as I am amused you're gonna kick me out the party, well, I'm gonna go find all your mums. Why did they have to make him that young, and why did they have to have like the slavery bit in? I feel like it could have just all been, you could have just not done that and it would have probably been like a maybe a C tier. Demon Lord's overprotective. This is an A tier. This, probably a low A tier actually. So this saint has passed away in some capacity and has been reborn on Earth, and the Demon Lord was in love with her and he's come and found her, except she has none of her memories. She's been reborn as a human. But he is completely head over heels. He's going to stay and look after her and love her. She's not sure, but is like accepting of it. It is complete at 3 volumes. Volume 3 is now, but 1 and 2 are. And I think that's why I've got some trepidation. I loved volume 1. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this. This is great. And then looked it up and was like, oh, why is it complete 3? And having read volume 2, I'm worried it's going to feel a bit rushed towards the end, but it's still a good A tier. I would again definitely recommend if that's the sort of thing you're into. Hitman Stands is probably a B tier. It was funny, I'd say, of all of the Hitman kind of turned to idol loving, which seems to be a few at the moment. This was probably, I think, one of the funnier ones. I think I did find myself giggling while reading this one. And I liked some of like the story, the chapters where we were spending time with some of the other idol fans as well. But again, at the moment they're feeling a bit dime a dozen, so I don't really think I can rate it too highly because they are blurring a bit. Okay, Swordmaster... D. I don't think I hated it, but basically, guy's isekai'd, picks up a sword is a woman, they bone. That's all I remember. Beyblade. Let's see. I never got into Beyblades. It's just not something I got into. So this meant not very much to me. It was so over the top. It was so silly. I couldn't take it seriously. If you were more into Beyblades, or maybe for a younger audience, like a kid, a child, they might enjoy it more than I did. But yeah, this was not one for me. I think it's the same manga as Promised Neverland, which I think probably interested me more than the Beyblades. That still wasn't enough for me though. Long Summer of August 31st. This is an S tier. It really got to me. I love the pair. This is a Groundhog Day time loop. Both these characters are stuck in the same time loop. They're reliving August 31st, hence the name. And they don't really understand why. They are vaguely trying to figure it out, but for the most part, they're just kind of spending time together. There are 3 volumes out in English, and I think about 8 in Japan at the moment. It is ongoing. But it's really nice seeing their interactions and also how they approach, like, moral questions. Like, do I put in the effort to help this person today when I know that it's going to be nothing tomorrow. It was good. It's been good. I really enjoy it. Love Bullet. This is a low A tier. There was so much hype for Love Bullet. I was a bit worried that it might not hit my expectations. I did still enjoy it. I didn't really know what to expect. What I think I did like about it is that it is a GL, but there is also like a story to it that isn't necessarily focused on a specific romance. So the plot being that they are cupids and they go around and they form romantic attachments between characters in the, I was going to say in the overworld, on Earth with humans, and a number of the relationships that they've been pairing up have been women with women. And it's been really cute and really sad. I cried at the volume. I got really down about it, so yeah, be careful with that. It kind of got named as like the Red Yuri, I assume, like jumping off the back of Green Yuri, but I don't necessarily feel it's like quite as appropriate. It's not like got red ink in it. It's probably just the red cover. Imagine if the next cover isn't red or if it's like blue or green. I have no idea. Maybe it is all red and I'm just making things up now. I did enjoy it, but I think I need to try and be better at not letting hype get to me or like affecting my opinion on things before I get to read them myself. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired already. We've got so many more to go through. This might be like 3 or 4 sessions. We're gonna do like another row and then I'm gonna take a break. Fall in Love, You False Angels, B tier. I've only read the first volume. I have a bunch more to read. I have set myself like a long-term year goal of read a bunch of my large form Kodansha volumes, which this one falls under. The general plot is it's about the what's the word? Head boy president for the year. What's the word? Yeah, it's like head boy, I guess. Council. Maybe the council members. And everyone thinks they're like super prim and proper, but both of them have like a darker side. It's not really that darker, just a bit more like edgy, I don't know. And they see each other's sides and they kind of like each other's other alternate sides that only the other one knows about. I think they start dating, or it looks like they're gonna start dating. I really like the covers and I quite like the art style. I was quite surprised. I wasn't sure looking at the cover, but then reading it I was really into it. Love Kitten and Salty Dog, D tier, which is unfortunate because a large amount of the story revolves around a kitten. This was one of my 70s BL one-shots that I read and I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't like the younger character at all. I just didn't like the pairing. The older guy, or the taller guy, sorry, is a vet, and the younger guy brings in a cat that he's found and is like, can you help me look after it? And that's how they end up spending time together. I just didn't really get into it. Didn't enjoy it. Next we have Veil. I'm going to put this in C tier, and I know a large amount of my opinions on Veil is down to me and my whole I don't like to look up series ahead of time. But I didn't realise what sort of series Veil was before I read it. I thought it was going to be a story, and it's less a story, it's more got an art book kind of feel to it. Really like the artwork, I really like the style. I just, especially at the price it is, which is like $13-14.99, I probably would have held off picking it up if I'd realised that it's more like you get a couple of pages with like some story of the two characters spending time together, but most of it is like just 4-page pieces of art, which again, no bad thing. A lot of people also really love it. Just a fault of mine for going in blind and having expectations for it that it wasn't. No God in Eden, mid B tier, higher B tier, higher B tier. No God in Eden is meant to be sort of like the first ever alpha and omega. They've gone into heat, they don't really know what's happening, it's all a bit weird, it's all a bit scary. But it's kind of an interesting read, especially as most of the story takes place in just one room. If you're into your Omegaverse, definitely would recommend, I think. Smutty though. Cats with Jobs, A tier. I love all the series from Pandania, and this is a new one, and every 4-coma page is a cat with a different job, and it's just such a fun, silly set of cats doing strange, silly things. And there is a software developer one or a programmer one, and I was like, yes. Trapped by His Love, S tier. Oh my gosh, I loved it. This is another one where I think this is one that just met my tastes specifically, which is why it's S tier. a girl is being told you're gonna have to marry this guy who basically has been bullying you since childhood, and she's like, that sounds like hell, I'm gonna try and find someone else to marry. So stands at the school gate and just asks the first guy that walks in, and it just turns out that that guy might have accidentally, potentially, been in love with her for like years and decades since they were children, and says yes to her shock. We do get more backstory, we get more explanations, but he is just like completely head over heels and cannot believe his luck that she is like, will you marry me? And he's like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Love, that's an understatement. High B tier. Let's go high B tier. It's the same mangaka as Lovesick Ellie, and I really loved Lovesick Ellie. Just thought I could try zooming out a bit so we can see a bit more, because I think I keep forgetting like how far I can scroll. It's about a girl who attends like a prim and proper fancy school and a guy who attends a school that's very much isn't, but they kind of run into each other and spend time together, and they're kind of like a bit fond of each other. It's also one of the first series from Kodansha's print-on-demand series, which I'm very excited and elated that this is like they're trialing this becoming a thing. It has been slow between releases, but as long as we get there, Disney Monsters Inc. This is gonna be a C tier. It's a retelling of Monsters Inc. Actually, I had one pet peeve with this one in that they did cut out a big segment of it. They cut out the whole bit when they go into the snow, when they get pushed and they get banished. Because in the film, they then have to go and find another door, but in the manga, they get pushed through the door, and like, what do we do? And then they turn around and like, oh, they've got to turn the door off, let's just go back through. Which is super dumb, super dumb. Like, I found it funny, almost, because of that. Next we have another facu called Sticky Lovers. We're just gonna put that in F tier as well, because that's where it belongs. Be My Worst Nightmare. This is a high B tier. I did quite like it. I have started to read some more of it, but I'm not that far through. It is a BL, it is a plaster at BL, and it's high school BL. It's a high school BL where this guy seems to, when he's asleep, inhabit the plushie of this other guy in his class, and he can like overhear and see the guy when he's sleeping and talking in his room, and he learns that this guy is in love with him basically, or has feelings for him. Quite cute, quite fun, but I don't know how like long they're gonna hold on to the like plushy possession thing. Okay, I've taken a short break. We're back at it now. We have Ayakashi's Hunters Tainted. Right, this is an S tier. Really loved it a lot. If you're a fan of My Happy Marriage, give it a go. It's a very similar premise, but is not on hiatus. I also personally prefer the main couple in Ayakashi Hunter over My Happy Marriage. I just like the personalities of the pair of them a lot more. Also, I've just read volume 6 like last night, so we've already surpassed how many volumes of it are out in comparison to My Happy Marriage in less than a year. Where's this one? Loverboy. Loverboy, C tier. I just wasn't too bothered by it. I also didn't really hate it. It was fine. I think there's just been more BL manhwa that I've enjoyed much more than this one. Broken Ring, a high B tier. It is a fantasy period romance. What I did quite like about it, I'm going to slightly spoil what happens in Volume 1 because I'm going to spoil a lot of what happens in Volume 1s. But there was a nice twist where we do learn that she has been, she's gone back in time and she's reliving the same life again. But we don't find that out till actually a good way through the volume. And it completely explains her behaviour and everything, what's going on, why she's doing it the way she is. But I just like that they kind of held that back from us, from the reader, for a bit. It'd been kind of neat if we went on a bit longer, but I also think it might have like made the story something that it isn't. Do be cautious. All the men in story are terrible. They are all terrible. Maybe that's the point and it'll get better. But even I read it and I was like, it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit hard going through this. Tokyo Alien Bros. I genuinely don't know where to put this because I loved Volume 1. I didn't enjoy Volume 3 and Volume 2 was fine. So that's probably, I'll put low B tier because I did kind of enjoy the start. It's about a couple of alien bros who've come down to Tokyo to try and plan out if it is ready for human habitation. And it was fun and silly at first, and then I just really didn't enjoy the direction it took because it's completed 3 volumes, so I feel like they needed to they were trying to just wrap the story, and I just didn't really enjoy how they wrapped it. Personally. Bride of the Death God, C tier. Again, I didn't really hate it. I felt a bit ambivalent while reading it. This girl has this disease that causes her to grow flowers across her body, and it is her time. She is about to pass away. Death, the god of death, comes along to take her away, and he kind of becomes a bit smitten with her and decides to not do that, to instead give her a second chance. And there's some other weirdness about collecting souls, and the disease is odd and stuff like that. But it just didn't really hit for me, unfortunately. I don't know why. I feel like it's the sort of thing that should, like, odd fantasy-ish romance, but it's still set in like modern day Japan. The girl goes to school and stuff. I don't know. I think it's one where I'll maybe read a couple more to really decide, but I might wait for like sale section volumes. I Want to Love You Until Your Dying Day, probably a high B tier, maybe a mid B tier actually. I think I was caught by surprise, going in completely blind. It is a GL. It's quite gory. GL, there is some story to it. These girls are raised in this like house school, and a number of them are trained to go out and fight in wars, battles, stuff. It's all very like, who knows if we're gonna live long kind of deal-a-rooney. And it's kind of nice. I don't like, a lot of the GL out there in English print at least is quite cutesy, so it's nice when we get one that is a bit more on the slightly demented side. I do want to try and pick up more volumes of it this year. I think I might only have one volume, that might be it. But it's also not fast releasing. It's got like 6-7 volumes out right now. Hotori Something First Kiss. Now this is a selection of one-shots with like a theme of couples' first kisses. So every chapter is a new pairing. Usually I'm not a big fan of these because I'm like, you don't get long enough with the characters. But it was actually pretty cute. It was quite nice. But because you do only get that one chapter, I'm going to put it in a low B tier. I did enjoy it, but I mean, that was it. It was it. We didn't, that is the whole point. It's still cute. Maybe if you see it discounted. Valley of God's Skull, low A tier. It's a magical, not magical, fantasy school. This girl has been onboarded into this school where people train to be gods and they have like abilities and stuff. But she isn't meant to be very good, or she's a bit shit, but maybe she's actually got some secret power that she's not really fully like letting out for some reason, or is unable to yet. I know there's been some mixed opinions on the series. I believe it is based on a light novel, and I believe the light novel's the same writer as Apothecary Diaries, which was why there was a lot of pushing for it when it first released. However, Yen Press seemed to keep pushing it and promoting it as a romance, which I mean, I've read 2 volumes, don't really see it as a romance. Maybe later on down the line, maybe it's a secondary plot, but maybe in a similar vein to how romance is approached in Apothecary Diaries. If it's not the same light novel writer, do let me know down in the comments. There is some form of person that is the same across the 2 series. But I do think that has caused some detriment to it. I feel like we would have potentially seen more people picking it up if it was pitched in a different way. Nagame to be or not to be. Maybe a D tier. I don't think I hated it, but I just wasn't that big of a fan. It was fine. It's a BL romance between 2 characters who go to school and like aren't being completely honest with each other. And then they are towards the end when it looks like one of them's gonna head off. I think he goes to work on a fishing boat, I think. There's some cuteness at the end, but I don't think it outweighs the rest of it. It was just a bit of a, yeah, I read that, and that's it. Werewolves going crazy for me or over me in some capacity. I don't know. It was so high C tier. It was like reading weird fan fiction. Is it a manhwa? It's in color. It's a steamship title about a woman who is trying to figure out how to pay her daughter's medical bills, and ends up caught the eye of this like CEO man that seems to be quite common, who might also be a werewolf. So yeah, heavy fan fiction vibes. It was like, I didn't hate it, but I was reading it with like one eye cover going, oh, this is so cringe. I didn't hate it. So yeah, I don't think I'm putting it in C because like I was ambivalent. I'm putting it in C because I both enjoyed it and hated it at the same time, and C is a middle ground. Gazing at the Star Next Door. I'm gonna put this in a Hi, be here. It's another idol romance, this time with the childhood friend, and the childhood friend who lives next door, and the guy is now becoming an idol, but she just is struggling to see him as anything but her childhood friend, and they're getting closer. I've only read one volume, but it is on my hit list for this year as I try to read a bunch of cadentia. That's on my, especially maybe next month for February, where I'm going to try and read a load of like Shoujo and Josei series. It's a very cutesy one. But if you're into your idol stuff at the moment, or like Tamon airing and stuff, that's another one to definitely try. Gokurakurai? Is that right? Sometimes I need to say it really slow. Gokurakurai. Yeah, maybe. I think I did a disservice to this series. So in November, I read lots of Shonen Jump and I caught back up loads of series. So I finished My Hero. I read like 8 volumes of One Punch Man, 8 volumes of Boruto, caught up on Black Clover, finished Mashal. And then the last volume I read in the month that was Shonen Jump was, I read volume 1 of this. And I think because I was riding this absolute high of all these Shonen Jump series that I absolutely adore, and I was really happy and thrilled to be back up to date with. I think then starting a new series completely blindly, I think it was fighting a losing battle, as I was going to end up trying to compare it to these series that it was obviously not going to be able to live up to in just one volume. So I'm going to reluctantly put it in a low B tier. And again, I think it's one that I probably would regrade the more I read. It's not the most fastest releasing, but actually not a lot of them are nowadays, are they? I enjoyed like what was going on fighting these enemies, which I think were called Manga, which is hilarious. These gross, grotesque beasts called Manga. The characters look great. I like the idea of the plot. I just couldn't quite get into it as much. But I think, again, I read 1 volume, whereas I read like 8 volumes of all these other series that I've been reading for years. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time and then do another binge to read the rest of what's out. I think there's like 4 or 5 out, so I'll have a good few to go through. Suzuki-kun's Mindful Life. This is a very high A tier. It's almost S tier. Is it S tier? So when I did my top 10, Suzuki-kun, I think, wasn't on it, but it was super close. It was super duper close. It is an adorable series. It is about a really big guy who people look at and are like, oh no, he's really scary, but he isn't. He is a very lovely guy, and he tries to be helpful, and he doesn't... Don't judge a book by its cover. He's very lovely, and he just wants to make friends and not be judged for his hobbies, which is like baking and stuff like that. It was really pleasant. It gave me very similar vibes to Skip and Loafer. So I would almost like, if you're a fan of Skip and Loafer, potentially give this one a go. Barbarian's Bride, D tier. Again, I didn't outright hate it, but I wasn't like massive on it. I've not picked up any more yet to read. This woman is taken by an opposing kingdom clan to be their bride, and her whole life she's grown up being told that this clan are barbarians and they're terrible people, and now she's actually living around them. They're not too bad, they're not actually barbarians, and she's like, has my life been a lie? Basically. Interesting art style. It's quite heavy, like thick lines. Thunder 3. This is also a high A tier. This was on my top 10. And I would say that like anything in S tier was like definitely going to be in my top 10. And then anything else, it was like kind of trying to pick out of the A tier what I was going to put in here. Thunder 3 is a sci-fi series, which also surprised me because I've just been a lot less interested in sci-fis of late. But Thunder 3, really enjoyed. It is about these sort of anime-looking characters who have managed to break into this world that looks quite realistic. And for some reason is being overrun by aliens. Like modern day Japan and the world is being run over by these aliens who are trying to take it over. These little group of boys go through because one of their sisters has fallen through into this world and been taken hostage by the aliens, and they're trying to get it back. It's basically the plot of it. Really enjoy it. It's a very, very quick read. I can easily read 3 volumes in an evening, which is what I have been doing. I've been doing them in lots of 3. But it is also good to slow down and look at the background and landscapes. They're like incredibly detailed and over the top. It's really stunning. Star Brighter Than the Sun. Some of these I can't remember the full title, so I'm just like trying to zoom in, like what was it again? Mid B tier. I think there's a lot more B tier than I expect. I suppose to me, when I said that, I generally am more positive with my ratings. I'm generally more likely to like something than to dislike it. My average rating is a 7, which is what I would consider about a B to B. It'd be a 6, 7, and then A would be like a 8, 9, and then S would be a 10. What was that one again? Star Brighter Than the Sun, childhood high school romance. It was quite cute. I haven't read really much. I don't think I've read past volume 1 yet, and there's 4 out. Cosmos C. I was not that fussed by it. I wasn't, again, enthralled. I haven't rushed to pick up any more. I haven't picked up any more, actually, to think about it. It's about a insurance firm called Cosmos who sort of operates around the universe, around the galaxy, in space. And they are, like, there's this group of people who come to Earth to catch aliens or people visiting that have violated their insurance or something. And they've, like, roped in this guy who I think can heal, was it heal lies? He could do something like that. It wasn't a bad plot. I just wasn't rushing to read more of it, really. 12 Dirty Deeds. Right, okay, bear with me. I think low B tier. It is a GL. It's a very smutty GL. I don't feel like it's a GL really written with women in mind. But I did find it really quite funny. It's quite crude. It's quite crude. It depends what you're up for, what you're comfortable with. It's complete in 3 volumes, I believe, and I've only read the first one. But yeah, it depends what you're comfortable with. It's plastic wrapped, crude, but it made me giggle. Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent, high B tier. High B tier. There we go. It was a cute high school romance where this girl ends up falling for a delinquent and he wears glasses. Is mostly the plot. They also I think they get together at the end of volume 1, so which I'm very happy about. I don't enjoy it as much anymore where we drag out the couple getting together or the series ends with them getting together. Like, I want to explore what happens. I'm not rushing to pick up more of it yet just because I haven't read more. I have, I think, another couple of volumes. I think I might have 2 and 3, but I'm not going to pick up any more until I've read those, unless it's on sale. Winter Wolf. I feel similar about this than I did about Werewolves Going Crazy Over Me. I think I enjoyed Werewolves a bit more over Winter Wolf, though. It's another steamship. It's another colour steamship. This woman was, I can't remember if she was royalty, but she was definitely a noble in this kingdom that has been overthrown by an adjacent kingdom, and she is kind of on the run right now. She's trying to get out, but on like the way, she had like a stopping point before going and getting on the boat. She stopped at this manor that had this guy living there who was going to escort her the rest of the way, and for various reasons they haven't been able to make it to the boat yet, but they have managed to bone a bit, and it's really wintry and snowy where the manor is, hence the title. Imagine it. Is he a werewolf as well? Did I miss that bit? I don't think it was well written, but I don't think you read Steamship for like the well written stories, to be fair. Adored by an Elite Officer. A high D tier. A high D tier. The plot is not good, but the smut scenes, I would say, is some of the better smut scenes in Steamship, in my personal, humble, not expert opinion. I actually have volume 3 next to me, which might be the last one, because I'm trying to catch up on some of my Steamship titles. Here we go, volume 3. It's still wrapped. Is it? Yeah, it does say Grand Conclusion on the back. So it is the last one. The end of the beginning. I actually have another Steamship title I'm in the middle of reading, Virgin Marriage Volume 3, which is coming up, it looks like. Twisted Tale, Once Upon a Dream. This was also an A tier, because I really enjoyed my Disney series. I'm going to put it above the Beauty and the Beast, Tale as Old as Time, which surprised me as well, considering Beauty and the Beast is my favourite Disney movie, and books and all that. But I think just the way the story was paced, I enjoyed more. As I said, a good chunk of the story for Once Upon a Time, Tale as Old as Time, sorry, was with Belle's mother. We didn't spend as much time with Belle, whereas Once Upon a Dream was a consistent story with Aurora, pretty much. The twist on this one is Aurora hasn't woken up. She's still asleep. And we spend most of the story in, like, her dream space, just trying to fight her way out. It's kind of interesting. Again, a bit darker than the Disney movie. It's a shame they're both only 2 volumes long. I also have a bunch of the novels of the Twisted Tales. There's loads of them. There's like 20 plus. Even like Incredibles has one, Up might have one, some of the Pixars do as well. So that kind of tickles your fancy, give them a go. Play It Softly, this was another one of the 70s BL one-shots, large format. This is also a C, again a bit ambivalent. They both played music, they were both in a band together. There was a big misunderstanding. No wait, there was a big, right, high D tier. There was a big misunderstanding in high school, which meant they didn't get together, and instead of just like talking, they just went like 10-15 years assuming something incorrect, and it bothered me. The whole volume, the whole thing could have just been like not a thing if they just like had a conversation as teenagers, but of course they were teenagers. I can't remember the full title of this one. It's 100th time 99th's the charm, or 99 loops and 100th time's the charm. It is a looping fantasy series where this woman is cast as the villainess. She's been accused of terrible things. Everyone is saying she's a terrible person. The saint lady has come in and is like, she's bullying me, she's treating me terribly. And then they all decide, well, the only thing we have to do is lop her head off, obviously. And then for some reason on her 100th loop, reliving this, she gains like the ability to be able to hear everyone's thoughts. And then she learns that no one actually thinks she's a terrible person. They just seem unable of controlling their body and what they're saying. So like they're physically being like, you're a terrible person, off with her head, but on the inside they're like, we love her to pieces, she's so lovely, why are we saying this? And she's like, that's weird. Then she devises this plan to try and like manage to escape. She creates this like body double to have its head lopped off, so everyone thinks she has it, but she hasn't. She's able to run off, be free, and escape the loop. I haven't tier listed it. I think I enjoy it more than Jeanette, and I'm comparing them because they're both Panini series. So, and I often read them like volumes like together if they've say sent me some. I will say with both this and Jeanette, I realise you can't see my cursor, it's not coming up, never mind. With both 100th Loop and Jeanette, I think they're very much things that I do enjoy. That is my kind of series. If they're your kind of series, I think you'd enjoy them too. But I wouldn't outright necessarily recommend them unless you're already into like your fantasy romance stuff. There's other ones I'd probably recommend as like first ones to try, for example. Wet Tentacle Dream, Wet Dream Aquarium, something like that. There's tentacles on the cover. Honestly, D tier. Not for anything like kinky or amusing, but I was disappointed. I expected with a title like this and for it to be plaster wrapped, it was going to be way more kinky than it was, but it wasn't. We got some mild kinkiness towards the end, and I think he had one dream, maybe. But it basically, a pair of guys connect over fish and aquariums, which is fine. Just with a cover like that and a title like that, I expected it to be kinky and it wasn't. Oh, bye Una. She was sat with me, now she's gone. Wash It All Away. This is an A tier. This was so lovely. It's so calming, peaceful. I feel like I got similar vibes reading this than when I read Hiroyushumi. It's about this woman who runs a laundromat? What's the word? Dry cleaners, that's the better word. And we kind of just are following her day to day, and we get a lot of like, we learn about cleaning stains and cleaning different types of materials and fabrics. We get some floor plans of her little shop and where she lives above the shop. There is also some form of ongoing story in this one. She seems to have lost her memories from like before a couple of years ago. All she really remembers is running this dry cleaning service. But it is so nice and pleasant. I hope the memory like mystery doesn't get too dark or intense. I kind of want it all to still stay quite lighthearted and upbeat. The only reason I haven't really picked up more of this yet is because it's Square Enix, it's a pricey series. So I've not rushed to grab more yet. Saying that, I think I ordered volume 3 because I found it used for a nice price and it's downstairs ready for me to open. So double the trouble, twice as nice. I liked it. However, I struggled a bit with some of the romance development between the characters occurring when he was in his child form, which I'll get to in a moment. Where am I going to put it? Hi B again. So yeah, this woman is working in an office and she gets home and there's like a kid and she's like, what do I do? I can't, it's too late to get him to the police. You just stay here for tonight and we'll sort you in the morning, which... okay. And then wakes up the next morning and he's no longer a small child anymore, he's a grown teenager man thing. Turns out there's like this weird oddity where you can like swap between like a 8-year-old and an 18-year-old. I hope he's 18. He's gonna be like 16, isn't he? I can't remember. Basically, small form, large form. And there's like some slight stuff occurring between the two of them, which I wouldn't be like opposed to. It's quite cute and I did like it. However, some of the dates they kind of go on happens when he's in like his child form, and I didn't like that. I don't want romance development when he literally looks like a child. It puts me off a bit. The rest of it I enjoyed though. It would have been an A tier if it wasn't for that, and I'm still like having a big deep sigh of mild regret. Brilliant healer F tier. F tier? I didn't hate it, but I didn't enjoy it. It's a it's a harem series. This guy got kicked out of a hero's party. There seems a lot of those as of late. And he ends up setting up a shop in like the slums, I think they call it, something like that. And there's a lot of gang war going on, but he's an excellent healer. He's very good at healing. He's really, really good at it. And all of these people keep coming in to him to heal, and he's considered kind of like a safe spot across all of the different gangs. Like there's a truce turning up, even if you like there's another member of the gang there, you'll be fine if you just don't start a fight there. And all the heads of the gangs end up getting quite sweet in them, and they're all very booby women. Not that bothered. I can't even remember if it's an isekai, it might be, but I don't feel like they all necessarily are nowadays. It used to be if it was a gross thing like that, it would be an isekai, but not necessarily. Virgin Marriage, C tier. And I'm saying it as I am literally in the middle of reading volume 3. I'm not very far into reading volume 3. I'm just not that into the whole married for like a year or so and they've not even considered attempting any form of intimacy. If we'd not had like the year or so they were married before like trying to do anything, if we're like, okay, we're newly married, let's see what's going on, if they've decided to wait. But like leaving it a year and it was just so awkward. It's getting a bit better. Spoiler, that like it took a couple of volumes, but they are now up to things. But I was just too embarrassed almost reading it just on their behalf, I guess, at the start. So I just couldn't really get into it as much. It's definitely, I feel, on like the lighter cutesy end of steamship titles. It's not really that drama-y. They're just a bit awkward. Don't hold back, Lord Hades. Did I accidentally put like all the steamship titles together? I also read a volume of this recently. These are the three steamships I read recently. Volume 2 is just like behind my monitor. I'm gonna put this in a low A tier because I am a massive sucker for mythology, love Greek mythology, and it's real kinky-ish, kinda. I mean, it's got Zeus in it. I feel like if it's gonna have Zeus in it, it's gonna get kinky. But I also wish to clarify, me putting it in A tier doesn't mean it's necessarily good. I just enjoyed it. Choking on Love, also a B tier. I think there's been a lot of romance. I think I need to finish them. There is a lot, isn't there? Gosh dang. I think I need to finish them to properly rate them. A lot of these I only read volume 1 for one reason or another. Some of them, like Double the Trouble, volume 2 hadn't really come out last year. By the time I was placing like my orders, it'd probably appear in my next order that I do. Choking on Love, I believe, is the one that's the same mangaka as Living Room Matsunaga-san. And both of them are students at university or college or whatever it's called. And I was enjoying it. Reading a romance while they're not in high school is definitely outnumbered. So I don't know why I've not read more of it yet. Maybe like mentally I've put it in the same boat as some of these other romances like Glasses, Delinquent, Home Sweet Home. So I was like, I'll just wait till I see them on sale to pick up some more. Maybe that's what was going through my head. Common Sense Monster, C tier. It's a monster GL. There seems to have been a couple of those. I was fairly ambivalent. I just don't think they're my kind of thing. Same with like some of the Hikaru died. I'm just not a big fan of like creepy monsters. It's not necessarily to say that the series is bad, it's just not for me. Lucille has a dream. Mid-B tier? What I think hasn't helped this series is that there is only one volume. It is on hiatus in Japan as well, so we're only going to have one volume for a while. I'd enjoyed volume 1. It was kind of interesting. It was like this post-apocalyptic, trying to find people and survive, traveling across the world. What's going on, what's there. So it was also a bit melancholy, and I feel like I need to be in the right mood to enjoy a melancholy series. It being very pretty definitely helped, but also not having any more volumes I can read to like set a firmer opinion makes it difficult. I feel like we've made no dent. It's just forever going. What's this one? Heroine Saint, no, I'm a maid, something like that. This is a low A tier, sorry. It was like high B, low A. It's very silly. This person is isekai'd, and when they were in Japan, all they wanted to do was be a maid. It was their dream to be a maid, to wear the uniform. They've been isekai'd into this fantasy world, and they're like overpowered saint. They could save the world. And she's like, nope, I want to be a maid. I want to go find somewhere I can live and be a maid. Except they're incredibly overpowered, but they're vaguely trying to hide it and just be a maid. It's very silly. It's quite comedic. It's quite lighthearted, at least so far, which has made it quite a nice read. But I think you need to be into your like silly, lighthearted, cute girl series to get into it. So like Kuma 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 Bear, I'd say is quite similar. There's quite a large female cast, for example, compared to male. Lullaby of the Dawn. I only read volume 1, even though I did have like 5 volumes I could read because someone wanted me to read it. Who wanted me to read it? I can't remember. Anywho, I only read volume 1. Again, also a low A tier. It was interesting reading a BL with like external story that wasn't necessarily tied into the romance. There's this like weird creatures that are coming out of the sea, and this guy protects the land from them. His role is kind of cursed and he's not going to live for very long, but for some reason he seems to be living a lot longer than any others have before, and the theory is because of this guy that comes and stays with him and looks after him, and they have a vaguely romantic relationship. So everyone's like, is it the love? Is love like extending his life? We've got to research this. And there hasn't really been that much more plot past that, to be honest. But I quite liked it. Magic Maker F tier. A higher F tier maybe. Isekai, bland. A guy is isekai'd and is like, wonderful, now I can use magic. And everyone in this world is like, what's magic? And he's like, well, I'm not going to be in an isekai'd and not be able to use magic, so he's determined to try and create magic, which is all fine, except there's the relationship with his sister, who they quite quickly let you know that they're not related, not actually his sister. And I was like, oh, this is gross. Stop that. Stop that. No. 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 Nope. 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 Especially as they were like young, like 4 or 5 at the time, and yes, oh, he's mentally a middle-aged man or something. I don't care. If you happen to use that as an excuse, you know, it doesn't make it better. Reliving my life with a boyfriend who doesn't remember me. This was an S tier. This was excellent. Fantasy, magic school, pairing absolutely head over heels in love with each other, and then he dies. And then she dies, and she wakes up when she's like 10 years old. And then she decides to make sure she can get into the school again, and she can find him. They'll figure out what happens, except she gets to the school 8 years later, 6 years later, whatever. He can't remember her. He has not gone back in time like she has. And yeah. So it's kind of her trying to get him to fall in love with her again, while also figuring out what happened to him to make sure it doesn't happen again. I love the pairing. I love both of them. He's so stubborn. He's so cute. She's so cute and adorable and optimistic, and I love them together. I love them so much. I was desperately sad to keep catching up with it. As of right now, there are 5 volumes. I read 3 volumes in one go, and I think that was a real nice amount to read together. Oh, but the pair of them, I love them. Fairy Cat. Now, I'm very biased to cat series. Fairy Cat is an A tier. It's very cute. It's 2 volumes, and it is just about the concept of these things called fairy cats, which are cats that like fit in your palm. They're quite small, and it's meant to be like good luck or a blessing if you find a fairy cat, because they don't really like being seen unless they want to be seen. So this guy just has a fairy cat appear and like helps encourage him get back into playing music again and finding enjoyment in that. It's just quite nice. Okay, next, Cherry Blossoms After Winter. A low B tier. It was okay. It was quite cute. It was pretty cute. I just wasn't I wasn't like big. What words am I trying to say? I wasn't obsessed with it. I didn't like love it. I just quite liked it. It was cute. But a large part of it is miscommunication and misunderstanding, and I feel like sometimes with those, there's only so far I can rate them before they annoy me. But still cute, and I'm enjoying it. I'm still reading it. Margray's Daughter Something Enemy Prince. This is also probably a high C tier. And low B. No, high C. Sometimes with these Tokyo pop fantasy romances, they're just so eh. And it's not that I dislike them, there's just nothing about them that maybe is like completely memorable. If I remember correctly, this one is a daughter sacrifices herself up to the enemy prince to get married, basically to protect her family and land and like their not community, people, something like that. I'm not very far into it though. I think I only read the first volume or 2, and it was fine. Again, I didn't hate it, I just didn't love it either. Cthulhu Cat. Cthulhu Cat is an A tier. I would say it's a higher than Cats with Jobs. So it's by the same person as all the other cat 4-coma series, like Cats with Jobs, The Evil Secret Society, Yokai Cats. It's the only one that has a very vague, slight ongoing story. It is also a one-shot, and also the only one published by Dark Horse. All the others are published by Seven Seas. I don't know why. But there is a very vague, slight, ongoing story. This guy finds a cat, but actually it's Cthulhu, and it's Cthulhu Cat, hence the title. And things start to go wrong and get very Cthulhu-y towards the end, and then it gets all really weird. It starts off like very 4-coma-y, like it's just individual stories that don't like mean anything to each other, relate. But then there is it starts to flow a bit later on. You get Kill the Villainess, also an A tier. I just love my Villainess manhwa so much, and I quite like this one a lot because she is like so stubborn and calculating and is trying to see if offing herself will get her out of this story. It's not working, so she's trying other methods because yeah, it's an isekai. This one's an isekai too. 2345, and I'm gonna put it in D tier. So first off, the story itself is probably a C tier for me. It's just not particularly memorable, and I feel like so it's a one-shot technically, but it's another one where it's got like there's a second one with a subtitle, and the plot is this guy is being followed by this ghost, and there's something going on with the time 11:45 p.m. or 23:45, hence the title. And there's like trying to solve the mystery of what's going on, and we do solve that mystery by the end of this volume. And I quite like the mystery side of it. The love side feel like it just came out of nowhere. I don't feel like we really built up to it, in my opinion. It should have probably been an either or for me to have enjoyed it more. The reason I've put it into D over C is incredibly petty, but because it is technically a time, it messes up and confuses my spreadsheet. So when I try to advertise my spreadsheet, it does not like the title of this series, and it is very annoying and it infuriates me. So I have more of a pet peeve for this series than I really should do. But again, it's my tier list, so what was this one? White Mage something. Do I have it I can read? Oh, the White Mage wants to raise the hero's level. This is an F tier. It's another gross, sexualized fantasy. You can kind of tell from the cover the quality isn't as great on this tier list website. It's just the characters are just way too young looking, and it's just really hypersexualized. And you can I read Faku, and I know I've F-tiered them, but just leave me be. And I read Steamship. I don't mind smut. I just don't understand the appeal of when they look so young. And just the whole volume was pretty gross. It was just, I had such a gross feeling reading it. It is a solid F tier. I wish I had gotten back the time I took to read it. Kindergarten Wars. This is probably a high B tier. I'm gonna put it below Hitman Stands. Again, this like spy-ish assassin comedy sort of series is quite big at the moment. I mean, we've also had Kill Blue, which I'd probably put it in this order. I think I enjoy Hitman Stands most, then Kindergarten Wars, then Kill Blue. So Kindergarten Wars is these like assassins are tasked with manning and working at the kindergarten for like the world's rich, famous, and powerful. And because the children of the rich, famous, and powerful, people keep trying to come in and kidnap the children, and they're there to stop them. A lot of them have been like put in prison for various reasons, and they're told if you work some time at this kindergarten, it'll reduce your sentence. And this woman on the cover is keen on trying to also find her love and is convinced that every person that stops by is like the one. And obviously that's not the case, and she ends up offing them all pretty much at the end of every chapter. It's very silly. I've not rushed to read the next volume. That's usually like an inclination of how much I enjoyed it. Daily Life of a Middle-Aged Online Shopper. Now I'm going to put this up with another high B tier. It would be an A tier, but for one thing. So the premise of middle-aged shopper online is pretty much the same as Campfire Cooking in Another World. A guy is isekai'd, and his ability seems to be able to pull through produce and stuff that you can buy on like Amazon or some other online retailer from Japan. Except it is incredibly stupid. Whereas in Campfire Cooking, he'll pull through like condiments and plates and chopsticks and sauces. In Daily Life Online Shopper, he pulls through like an 18-wheeler and gas canisters and a motorbike. It's just incredibly ludicrous and stupid, and some of the lines are like absolutely iconic in my opinion. I think it's really dumb. My only pet peeve is, again, randomly having like sexual encounters with women. Just randomly, like it didn't even make sense to the story at all. Just randomly, oh, I've boned the lady in the inn. And again, very young looking, and it's just like the story. Nothing would change story-wise if that bit was just gone. And then I'd probably put it in an A tier. It's not even that heavily like, at least from what I've read so far, it's just here and there. I don't think it's needed. You Can Something Without Us. This is like a mid A tier. I really enjoyed volume 1. It is complete at 3, so I haven't read 2 and 3 because I was going to wait till I had those, and I only got 3 at Christmas. It's about a group of 4 women who live together and are sort of going through their own things, be it through love lives, professional lives with their families, and I just really liked it. I liked seeing the camaraderie between the women. I liked seeing them attacking and hitting these challenges and figuring out how to overcome the hurdles. I'm not sure yet if I'd recommend it because I haven't read 2 and 3, but I liked volume 1. Something Virgin Night. I can't read the full title. This is, I think, a low D tier. I almost hated it, but it's not quite a hate. I mean, it says it sounds. It's lots of very booby women, and yeah. Actually, I think, is this one where it's meant to be like a matriarchal society and men are like passed around for boning pretty much, and this guy has been isekai'd and loves women in some it wasn't nice. I don't even think it was that long ago I read it, and that's how little I remember about it because I read it in December. I keep wanting to call this 10 Things I Hate About You, but it's not. It's 10 Things I Want to Do Before I'm 40 or something like that. And I would put this, I think, another high B tier. I quite liked it. Of the 7 Cities BL one-shots in large format, it was another one that I quite enjoyed. It's just the guy is close to turning 40 and just what things do I want to do with my life? And some of them are super cute, like buy a really fancy pillow, which sounds amazing. And then there's some like spending a birthday with a lover and things like that, and this guy comes in and offers to be said lover. Marriage of Convenience. I think I'm going to put this in a high B as well because I did enjoy it, but like not a huge amount of it is like coming to me. Is this another? I think it's a Back in Time, and I think she was not the best. She was quite spoilt and privileged, and is not really like that the second time around. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I just need to read more to have a handle on it. Colette decides to die. I feel very bad about this one, but this one is a C. I put it in high C. I think I just had much higher expectations going into this, but I also understand from what I've read from other people and what I've read from the manga kit in the volume itself was originally it was going to be like a one-shot or a really short series, and then it got picked up to be to run much longer. So the first volume or so in the Omni isn't really an indication of what the story is like long term. So I understand and appreciate, so I feel bad putting it in C at the moment, but I just found it not as interesting as I hoped I would. But it's definitely one I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to try and read some more this year, and I have continued to pick it up, try and help promote Shoujo Beat where possible, because I'm able to. I hope people will forgive me for that one, and in like consolidation, what's the word? I'll read more this year to make up for it, to have like a more solid formed opinion. Windbreaker, this is also a C tier. I read 3 volumes over December, and I didn't hate it. I was just a bit indifferent. The whole delinquent versus delinquent school thing, which is a shame because I felt like I quite enjoy the like school versus school, and they were just sort of beating each other up. And it's incredibly long. It's like 18's just come out or something, and I'm like, gosh. So I've read up to 3, and I have up to 8. I don't know why I'm looking up here. They're not up here anymore. I'm going to try and like at least catch up on what I've read, and then an hour on if I'm going to pick up more. If I see them cheap, like $3-4.99, like I sometimes do, maybe. But unless the rest of the volumes I have like pick it up for me, I'm probably going to put it on the back burner for now. Isekai Samurai, this is a low A tier. It's starting to struggle a little as I'm scrolling and dragging things. Isekai Samurai is a female protagonist who is isekai'd into a fantasy world. So they are a samurai, and they're like they believe the greatest thing a samurai can do is die in battle, and they are determined to die in battle. Unfortunately, they're insanely competent, and they're too good to die in battle and fight. They can't find an opponent worthy enough, basically. I realised I've been playing my water bottle. I don't know if the mic's been picking that up. And she goes, I think, eventually to go pray to a Buddhist at a shrine, and is like, I want a worthy opponent or something, and then she gets isekai into a fantasy world, and she's in this world, and then suddenly there's like orcs and goblins and a dragon. And I think on two sides, I generally do find I enjoy series with female protagonists a lot. Sorry, isekai series with female protagonists. Not only do I think I enjoy them more, I generally find them a lot easier to recommend because there's a lot less chance of a gross harm. But I also quite like the character, and I like that we haven't had someone be isekai'd from like modern day Japan. We've had like a samurai be isekai'd. We think it's quite fun. It's quite slow releasing though, unfortunately. I think we've only got a couple out in English. Mechanical Marie is a C tier. I didn't hate it. I just, again, was a bit ambivalent about it. I feel like I've said that a lot, haven't I? This is what happens when I'm doing like 230 odd series. I found this one a shame because a lot of people are quite excited for this one. It's had the anime as well. I think people have been quite excited for as well. This guy, I can't remember if he hates women or just hates having a maid. So they go and hire this person to act as his maid and pretend that she's a robot. And he thinks she's a robot because she's quite emotionless. And it's just a lot of silly humour of don't let him find out that she's actually a human. Hence the title, Mechanical, and her name is Marie. I'll Forget About You starting today. Senpai, also a C tier. This woman's been in love with... Actually, maybe a high D tier. This woman's been in love with this guy at high school. And he kind of messes her around a bit and mocks her. And it's really gross. and it takes her a long while to like get over it basically. And then she's like, I'm reaching an age, I need to find a person. So she signs up to this like dating agency to help find a partner. And it just so turns out the person assigned to her at the dating agency to help her find someone, as in like the staff member, is her senpai from when she was at school. Except she looks a lot different now. She's like dyed her hair, she's changed how she dresses and stuff, so he doesn't realise it's her. Yeah, it's kind of the plot. At first I thought it was a steamship. When I first picked it up and was starting to read it, I thought it was a steamship. It's not a steamship, it's just Seven Seas. I can't remember what demographic it is though. And it's complete 2 volumes, but I haven't read volume 2 yet though. Do women need sex entertainment? This is a high B, I think. This woman is trying to find a job, or needs a job, and she ends up working at a, I don't remember what the term is they use, escort agency? It's all men who go out upon request to do things. I think there's like legal limits of what they do. I don't think they go like all the way. They talk about it in the volume, but I really enjoy these like stories where we kind of get like a behind the scenes, and it's like seeing how not glamorous it is, like where they actually work. And you have this office and there's like just all this shelving, and it's just filled with like lube and stuff. And then all the men just sort of sat playing cards in the background, like as they wait for someone to get a call. Like, yep, you head out, go service this person then, I guess. It's kind of some wholesome bits, I guess, with like some of the reasons some people decide to seek out this kind of work, job. I think it depends what you're up for. What are you comfortable with reading? If this sort of thing you're comfortable reading, I think you might enjoy it. But if not, don't go near it. Kingdom Hearts. So this is the reprint coming out from Panini, and they're doing it in singles. I'm playing my water bottle again. I'm gonna put this in a B tier. I have quite enjoyed it. I have not played Kingdom Hearts. I have watched Ben play Kingdom Hearts 3, and I started Kingdom Hearts 1, but I didn't get very far into it. But I'm a big Disney fan, and I'm now becoming more of a Final Fantasy fan through 14. So I have said to Ben that I do want to try and pick up Kingdom Hearts again. I don't know if there's like any remakes or if I can play it on like more recent consoles, so I don't have to try and drag out old PlayStations. It's very cute, and the same with other manga series that are based on video games. It kind of come across as a bit rushed at times, but I think if you are a Kingdom Hearts fan, you'd probably enjoy it. On or off work-life balance. I really like this one. This is a low A tier. Honestly, one of the only things I think I want to pull it down on is its price. It's another thin series from Square Enix. Yeah, I think it's Square Enix. So it's like $14.99 for like a thin one. If you know the size of like Mr. Villain's Day Off, Ice Guy and Cool Girl, Cherry Magic, it's that sort of thinness. The premise is about 2 people who work together, and out of work they like to dress up in clothes that you wouldn't necessarily expect of them, I suppose, if you were to say look at them at work and what they wear to work. So the lady likes to dress up in like quite punk emo clothing, and the guy likes to dress up in a lot of like Lolita style clothes, hence the cover. That's them like wearing their looks, their do's, and they run into each other outside of work and don't initially realise who the other person is, and then start spending some time together. I can't remember if they learn in volume 1 who the other one is, and I haven't read my volume 2. I really liked it. It was quite fun, and the art style and seeing the clothing is so nicely drawn. Like all the clothing everyone wears looks so neat and striking, which is why I was so annoyed at how much it cost, because I really liked it. Plus size Misadventures of Love. I want to put this in a low C tier, I think. I read a lot of reviews on this one. I also saw loads of tweets for it around the same time. I don't know why I saw a load of tweets for it. I feel like it's a very like hit or miss kind of series. Like either you really, really like it and you love the character, or you're not a fan. It has quite dark topics. It's about a plus-sized woman who makes an attempt and survives, but has kind of forgotten everything. She has amnesia at the moment. She doesn't remember like her job or conversation she'd had with people at a job or people around and about. And the general premise is that she got a lot of hate comments because of her size, and it destroyed her mental health. And now the character has amnesia and they don't remember any of that happening. They're a lot more like happy and bouncy and rebuffing any of this hate. And I think it is quite a sensitive topic, but I think it's like a fine line, which is why I think people are either loving or hating it. Some people are really appreciating the character being able to just rebuff the hate and not care, still happy in themselves and love themselves with the art, which is great. And then also people who say that it's almost taking on a comedic view of a larger person, and the only way that a large person can really respond to these kind of things is by like laughing it off. Like if you get upset by it, then you're being too sensitive then, aren't you? And it's an interesting topic because again, it's a very sensitive topic and it can be a fine line for a lot of people. I don't think I was as much of a fan. I think it was a bit more on the side of, it feels a bit like they're mocking the character is being mocked in the way they're behaving, like in how they brush it off. Plus I had seen some other bits on Twitter in regards to the series that the mangaka had done, which is a bit questionable, but then I haven't been able to find it again when I vaguely tried to look it up. Yeah, I think low C tier. I don't know yet if I'm going to pick any more up yet. I'm not sure. Snow and Ink. This is a high B. High B. Mid B. Let's put you there. This woman has been accused of doing like terrible things, and she's kind of like escaping the kingdom, land, whatever. And she ends up like getting this guy following along who's been like, what did he do? He was on trial, I believe, for murdering a load of people. So it's like a pairing of hated people, basically. They have each other, is I guess kind of the point. And they end up going and staying at this place that's really, really snowy. And then they were doing some investigations into bits. I think into his background and something else, but I don't remember the something else. I think I kind of liked it, but yeah, there was a bunch of plot going on that I don't fully remember or I didn't follow. So for now, B. It's less romancy than I expected. I mean, there is some, but I kind of expect there to be loads more. Princess Jellyfish. My cursor is having a problem scrolling for some reason. Princess Jellyfish. This is an A tier. It's upper end A tier, I think. So last year I did start to try and do more like binging of series, and I just randomly was like, I'm going to read Princess Jellyfish, and then I did over like a week or so, and I'm really glad I did. It was really good, really enjoyed it. The end was a bit rushed. I think when she goes away to do designing, to the end it needed like an extra couple of omnis, probably, in my opinion. It was very rushed. And the end was quite open-ended, and I think that was kind of the point. I personally prefer being told. I'm personally less a fan of open-ended endings, but that is, again, a personal preference over anything. But I'm so glad I read it. I can see now why it's considered such a classic, and I would definitely recommend it to other people. And it actually has a box set. Is that still a thing? Is that still being sold? Dead Rock next. This is also an A tier, low A tier. It is a new series from the same person who did Fairy Tail, Eden Zero, Rave Master. It's called Dead Rock, and it is a dark magical school series. I've said I like my magic schools. There's a lot in here, way more than I remember there being. It is a bit more darker than some of the last series, and I think it might put off some people if you like Fairy Tail. It's definitely darker than Fairy Tail. But also it's really, really slow releasing, because he seems to be doing this alongside 100 Year Quest, and possibly alongside Eden Zero for a bit, because he's insane. I don't know. That's what some of the articles I was reading about him said. But with Eden Zero is now complete. I don't know if that means it'll speed up, but I think we've only got 3 volumes and it looks like it's going to just take ages between volumes. So though I am enjoying it, I would say don't try and get into it anytime soon, because it's just going to take ages to read. 31st Consort. This is like a low A tier again as well. I quite like this one. I quite like the fantasy. I'll turn up because I'm supposed to this like call summons from the king to enter the bid to be his bride, but I don't think it's going to be me, so I'll just live quietly. And that's basically this one. And the plot is there are 31 consorts, and for that day of the month, that's the consort he goes and visits. So the 5th consort he'll visit on the 5th, the 14th one he'll visit on the 14th, and so on. The 31st consort is the least desirable because there are the least number of months with 31 in them. But she doesn't mind too much because she doesn't really want to be there. And her house where she lives, her little house, is like the furthest from the castle. But yeah, the king stops by and obviously falls for her immediately. And they're like pretty much like, okay, we're going to get married. But they have to follow a process. And like king stops showing favoritism, but he doesn't. He's head over heels so quickly. It's pretty cute. I know there are lots of other series that are quite similar, but I'm a romantic at heart. My girlfriend is 8 meters tall. High D tier. There was quite a few like high school romances which had like a really pretty but really awkward girl and then a really bland guy. There was quite a few I read. I don't know if I see any right now looking down at the list. But I think this was one of my least favourite ones. She, for some reason, is 8 meters tall. She kept growing. And it's just really, really sexual with like her short skirt and her chest. And he keeps like falling in and looking up. And I'm just finding it incredibly cringy, especially with how awkward she is about it. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't for me. What's this? A costume change? Let's keep going. Okay, next we have the fed up office lady, something villainess. This is like a kind of a low C tier. I was pretty not interested in this at all, to be honest. It is technically a GL, but there wasn't really any GL-y elements in the first volume. I had to actually triple check afterwards. I was like, did I get this wrong? Villainess seems to be a popular trope. Not that I mind. And there's a bunch of GL coming out from that as well. Yeah, this office worker plays this like mobile game and is isekai'd into that. And it seems like the villainess has summoned her as like a gacha kind of thing. And the office lady is using her office skills to like be an admin person for the villainess, basically. It's fine. Maybe it picks up more after volume 1, but volume 1 was fine. Kagurabachi, low B tier. It was okay. I think I should have read more volumes of this. I only read volume 1. I think I've just recently picked up 5. So it's definitely one where I'm going to read 4 volumes at once. Same as Kokuraku Guy. I don't think I fully followed what was happening in Kagurabachi, and I think that was like my main issue with it. It was something with swords and finding swords and revenge, unless I got that wrong. Something with swords. Yeah, I didn't hate it. I just need to read more, really. Merry Witch's Life. This I thought was complete in 3. I'm not sure if it's complete in 3. I think this is a high B tier. Yeah, I think a high B tier. The premise is these 3 women are all widows and they're all slightly magical witchy and they're trying to use their abilities to figure out a way to bring back their husbands. It's quite a dark, like, it's more dark than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be like cozy, spooky vibes. I started reading in October. And it is kind of cozy, but it also has this air of like this like a dark layer over the top as well. So I would probably potentially look it up if you're interested in reading it, instead of going in blind if you potentially have some trigger warnings you might be concerned about. Minecraft, right. Minecraft was like it was terrible and great all in one go. I'm obviously not its target demographic anymore. It is aimed at like 10-year-olds. So if you've got a 10-year-old you're trying to slowly indoctrinate into manga, maybe start them with the Minecraft one. But it is about this boy who is going to go out on an adventure. I can't remember if he's going to find his dad, but it is very, very, very silly, over the top Minecraft stuff. But like, it's not good, but it's silly, so I can appreciate that. So that's probably like a lower middle B tier. We're going to put it like around here. Put it next to Baki. That tickles me for some reason. Catman. Catman was a one-shot volume, and obviously it had cats in it, so I was going to pick it up. But Catman was not quite what I was expecting it to be. Like, a lot of cat manga is usually pretty, like, nice and cute. Whereas Catman is sort of a take on minorities and consent, and was a lot more heavy than I expected for a manga about cats. but I think it did quite a good, I was going to say nice, I'm not sure nice is the right word. I think it did a good job at getting across the points it was trying to get across. So I'm putting it in low A tier. Maybe not, at the bottom feels cruel. I'm going to put it above Dead Rock. Put it next to Fairy Cat to like have some like positive and negative. Not negative. It's a bit more heavy than Fairy Cat. I don't really want to say much more. It is a one-shot, so it's not like the longest of stories. Definitely have a look into it. I would again probably not recommend going into it blind unless you're a crazy person like me who will go into everything blind and doesn't mind. Sheltering Eves. This is by the same mangaka as Perfect World. This is about a romance between two characters who've grown up in the system, and they've not really had a great time growing up. They're kind of just sort of trying to earn money and buy their time until they can go out on their own. I did try to look up opinions on this because I personally wasn't a big fan. It was a bit too heavy for me. Honestly, it is an incredibly sensitive topic to talk about, and I have been very lucky that it is not a situation that I myself have gone through. So I have tried to read up some other reviews to think like what other people are saying and opinions to help me phrase my own words as well. I have no idea if the mangaka is pulling from experiences for this series and Perfect World, but I did read a number of reviews that people felt that with this series and that series that the mangaka was almost romanticizing these scenarios, which I agree, it kind of feels a bit like that. Is that necessarily a good thing? It feels a bit off, really. I haven't read past volume 1, but I've managed to pick up a few more volumes because they've been in sale sections for like $4.99, $5.99. I might continue that way, or I might stop until I've read some more to have like a more firm decision. But I would definitely, again, have a look into it before you go and read it yourself. I'm probably going to make it a high D tier because of that. Absolute Boyfriend. I loved and hated this. It was a pile of steaming trash. It was great. So I have no idea where to really put it because it's not like, I can't put it in A. I don't feel it deserves a D. B is filling up, isn't it? Maybe a C? Because I said C is like if I'm feeling ambivalent. I didn't contemplate series that I had a love-hate thought process with. I think I'm going to put it in somewhere in the middle of the B. There you go, you can go there. I'd say when it comes to things I haven't really read that I'm like lacking, old school shoujos definitely like up there. It's like number 1. It was one of the reasons I read Princess Jellyfish and Absolute Boyfriend. So many people were interested in me reading it because everyone's like, it's a pile of trash, and I kind of loved it for it. But again, it's not good, but that's fine. Whereas like I read this and Midnight Secretary back to back. Absolute Boyfriend was like, this is terrible, it's great. Whereas Midnight Secretary, I was like, this is terrible, I'm so mad. Why? I don't know. Vibes, I guess. Made to Skate. Made to Skate is a low B tier. It was odd and nice and quite palate cleansing, I guess. It's about all of these maids that are also skateboarders, and I can't tell if you're a skateboarder, you go into be a maid, or if you're a maid, it means you got a skateboard. But it kind of like, in this story, they're like combined pretty much. So we have kind of chapters where we're exploring like the skateboarding, chapters where we're exploring the maid side, and then like the characters spending time together. It's very cute, kind of slice of life. I don't think it's very long. I don't know how long. I don't know if I'd rush to get more though. It's just kind of nice. Missing the Throat something. Teacher Goes to Teach. Demi-Humans, a D tier. Just again, they're so young looking. This human teacher is like, I hate humans, and then just so happens to get an email about teaching in a demi-human school that people can't find, and it's for teaching demi-humans how to act more human and maintain a human form before they can go out into the human world on their own. And this human teacher is teaching them all very young, cute girls that are half other creatures in some capacity. There's like a horse, a fox, and a siren. I can't remember some of the others. I just can't get over when they're so young looking. Okay, I'm sorry. Kamudo. So this is by the same people who did the Legend of Zelda manga. This is, I think, is it the first series they've done that isn't tied to Zelda or tied to another IP. Don't quote me. It is about a world of demi-humans and like dragon people, and this guy is born who looks particularly human, but also is like part dragon. It was a bit of a slog getting through the first half. It took me like an hour to read the first half and then like 10 minutes to read the second half. So it picked up. So again, this is probably a B tier and I'll keep reading. I love the mangakas who do the Zelda stories. I like how they adapt the stories and I like their art. So I was quite excited by this one. So I was a bit down in the first half, being like, I'm just not getting into it. But then I was glad to enjoy the second half. I think there was just so much lore. It was so lore heavy in the first half. It was just a bit overwhelming, really. I'll see how it goes. Reincarnation Coliseum F. F at the bottom where you belong. If I had like a Z tier, it'd go to Z tier. I hated Reincarnation Coliseum. It was incredibly demeaning to women. It was horrific. It was filled with all the content warnings and trigger warnings you could imagine. And then they kept referring to women over the age of like 27 as like old maids past their prime, like quite literally. I just hated it. I really hated it a lot. It was quite amusing because I do think this might have been one that Yen Press sent. And I think they sent it to some like pretty heavy shoujo creators. And I think quite a lot of them were like, I'm not even going to unwrap this because obviously it was plastic wrapped. They're like, I'm not even going to unwrap this. I'm just going to send it on or donate it. I almost feel it was like almost more demeaning than some of the Faku that I've read. And like, I go into Faku like, this is just going to be gross. It's just going to be gross. But this, like, it was another level. I am aware looking at the recording that the quality of some of these covers is absolutely terrible, and I do incredibly apologize. That is not me. It is not the pictures. It is, I assume, the site, and I think it's because I've uploaded so many, because the more I uploaded, the more like grainy they got. So it might be something I need to consider for next year's. If I read as many, maybe I need to tier list in a different way. Maybe just like going through the pictures. I don't know. That's next year's me's problem. Asking you will receive. This is an A tier. I enjoyed this one. Let's put this. Let's put it above Dog's Red, but it's not top row. I really enjoyed Asking You Will Receive. It is a BL from Sublime. And again, I think I've just really enjoyed these BL where like both of them are a bit grumpy. And also the main guy, one of the guys, like this one on this cover, he looks pretty dang fine. And I just kind of like the relationship and the like what they got going on. They were like secret identity because he looks different with his glasses on and off. And they're all keeping it hush hush. And also the bar. The people in the bar. I love the twins and their outfits and the bartender. It's currently ongoing at 3 volumes, so not like crazily long at the moment if you want to dip in and give it a go. Shindokun's Tight Squeeze. This is another steamship. I'm probably going to put this a bit higher. This is definitely at least... It's a B tier, I think. If I see any other steamships to rank it against... Oh, I see Lord Hades in A tier. I think it'll be a high B tier for sure. Something I think stands out about this is it's one of the very few times outside of Faku where I've seen an uncensored woman. Even sometimes when you see all of the dude, you still get a little bit of a glow down there for the ladies. I was quite shocked. It's only 2 volumes long. It's between office workers, so it can potentially blend into the others. If the ending was a little bit weak, if it was stronger, it'd probably be an A tier. But I think with the ending, it's a B tier. Virgin Ventures. This might be a low A tier. My opinion might change with more volumes, but with just volume 1, it's an A tier. This is about a woman who, I think her grandmother is a landlord and rents some apartments or something, and the granddaughter is sent round to go and collect rent from this guy, and he's like, oh, I'll go it's somewhere here. It doesn't seem like he's like being malicious, he's just a bit forgetful. She goes in to wait and notices there's loads of books around his apartment, and she opens some and it is like smut. And then it turns out that the guy writes erotica, but has no experience in any of that himself, so gets a bit like trapped and is stuck. And it turns out she's like really into, what's the word? Not erotic. Not erratic. Flamboyant? No, like complicated underwear, lingerie, bras and stuff. Like really intricate. I'm not sure. And she's really enjoying reading some of this and decides to try and help him. But they're both a bit shit and don't really know like how or what they're doing. It was kind of endearing. I at first wondered if it was a steamship. It's not. I don't even think, I can't remember if it's a ghost ship. It is a ghost ship because I remember thinking, finally a ghost ship that I vaguely enjoy. I'll stick with it and see if it does get gross, but I feel like for me it didn't come across as gross and it came across as more, I've just realised it's not on screen. It didn't come across as much as gross and more kind of cute and awkward. It is butchered the title on this one, so I'm just going to put it on the screen. I'm going to put this, I think also a low 80 actually. I'm going to put it like around here. So this is a one-shot volume, again sent from Yen Press, and it is, every chapter is its own thing, but every chapter revolves around two characters with the names of the characters that are going to be up here because I can't read the cover from here. It's something and Amani, and it begins with a T, the other one. Some of them I wasn't too fussed about, some of them I really loved, and it's kind of interesting how like there's a lot of one-shots I don't enjoy because I feel like we don't have enough time with them, and then there's one-shots where every chapter is its own thing and I've really enjoyed them. I think it says something for a mangaka who can really like build this story and make you feel for these characters in like 30 pages. But yeah, we had two different characters, same name, in like different time periods. Maybe they were friends, family, lovers, all over the place really. And I just thought it was really good. Yeah. Isekai Affair. FD. It's definitely a title that's like, I was going to say it makes it sound worse than it is, but no, it is what happens. And they try to explain it away because basically everyone's having affairs in this story. It's complete in 3 volumes and I recommend it to no one. They're saying that. I was talking to someone in person about like stuff I read recently and I think I just read like volume 2 or something. I was like, I read this and it was terrible. And then the next time I spoke to them, they were like, yeah, I went and read it. It's terrible. Why would you do that to yourself? There is some absolutely terrible bits in it. I do not recommend. Do not read it. It's isekai, and I am telling you, it's a bad one. Do not touch it. Monster Tribe. Monster Tribe is C tier. It's probably so like middle C tier. Middle C tier. It's about a group of monsters who are kind of trying to, half monster family trying to protect the human world from these like creatures and monsters. I don't like have an issue with the story and the idea. It's my kind of thing, just fighting different monsters. What I had issue with was I really struggled to actually follow what was happening on the panels in the pages. The artwork was so like, I don't know how to describe it. The way the art was drawn, I couldn't really tell necessarily all the time what was actually happening in a panel. I was relying quite heavily on just what they were saying, but when it was quite a heavily actiony kind of moment, there was just, I couldn't tell what was punching what. And I do feel a bit arsey for saying that, so apologies. Until I Met My Husband. So this is a manga of an autobiography. It was kind of interesting and melancholy and sad and nice all at the same time. It's the high B. It was just really interesting seeing or reading about someone's actual experience living in Japan as a gay man and what they went through from school to adulthood. I have a few more like autobiography mangas that I'd like to try and get through and I haven't yet. But this one like has boded well for me enjoying the other ones. At Your Service in Another World. This is an A tier with a caveat. So again, this was in my like top 10 reads of last year, but as an honourable mention. That honourable mention being that I did really enjoy it. It's probably one of my now favourite steamship titles. However, it was a rushed ending. It was really short. Why is it only 2 volumes? So yeah, the ending felt a bit rushed for me after what, like, the slow build-up I felt we were getting in volume 1. Woman, isekai'd, woman helps knight de-stress. Yeah. Oh, we got another steamship title. We've got Sweet Heat Before Falling in Love. This is another office romance, but I think this one is an alpha omega story. I know I see a lot of people being like, what's the point of a megaverse in straight relationships? Personally, for me, I enjoy that it kind of brute forces two people together quite quickly because they're like, oh, you smell nice. I'm not really fussed like male, female, male, male, female, female, or which way round it is. I kind of like that it brute forces the couple together and getting steamy without some of the run-up. And I know there is so much more to a megaverse. I have watched a weirdly large amount of videos because Ben started watching a load of videos on YouTube about exploring a megaverse, like hours and hours of like video essays. It was kind of amusing and weirdly interesting. I'm convinced it's one of the reasons he started watching Star Trek recently. But besides that, like, I enjoy that, oh shit, you smell nice, got a bone. It's another office steamship title and they're all blurring together. So I'm gonna put it in like high B, low B. I'm gonna put it in a high C because again, you smell nice, let's bone. Like, yes. But also, it's another office romance. Oh my gosh. Is there literally nowhere else we can find someone to bone? Is there no other situation? Cuckolding Wizard's Adventures is an F tier. Unsurprisingly. It somehow was kind of worse than I expected. Yeah, I don't recommend. Or if you do seem insistent, try and look it up. Or if you're that insistent, well, fine. Aren't you a gross degen like me? It's just the manipulating of women, and like he uses magic to what's the word? Mess with their minds, hypnotize them so they're more willing. It's just a bit gross. Only I Know the World is Ending. This is a time loop similar to, say, ReZero, where the guy is, if he dies, he gets sent back to the same point, but he also in this, he maintains like stats and skill points and stuff. So the loop starts the evening before these monsters and portals start appearing and attacking the world. And for him to like hit the next checkpoint, he has to hit whatever, he has to beat up and defeat whatever like boss is currently going around. So the first loop, he's like heading home and he's destroyed by this Minotaur bull man. And then he wakes up back in his office like the night before, like he's gonna head off, and then it's him trying to figure out what's going on, figuring out that he can access his skill points, he's maintaining stuff as he goes back, and yeah. I don't think it's good, but it is my kind of thing. It hits my tick boxes, so I'm gonna put it in like a low A tier. That screen nearly jumped up. I'm not putting it in S tier. I'm putting it in low A tier, but again, that's more because I enjoyed it. It's my kind of thing, but I don't think it's good. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend other stuff, but it's also a bit dark. Unwanted Princess Something. It is a fantasy period romance with a princess who is not very chatty, and there's some very poor communication. It's kind of my thing though, unfortunately, so we're gonna go for mid B tier. Really thin volumes from Tokyo Pop, so again, I don't even think I can really push to recommend it because I don't think it's done anything too like special, and Tokyo Pop is expensive and the volume's thin. But it is in colour, which I was mildly surprised about. Trapped Princess Sadistic Prince. This is also an F tier. This is also a steamship title. And yeah, he's a sadistic prince and he abuses her, basically. It's pretty grim. And she just seems like sad all the time. If she was like into it and consenting, it's different, but she just seems distraught. It's another isekai. She's been isekai'd into like the villainess character, and he does pick up on that pretty quickly. I can't remember if it's volume 1 or 2, but he does like pick up and is like, you're not actually her anymore, you're someone else. And she's freaking out and she's like, what are you gonna do to me? And then he does all this weird sexual shit to her. Right. It's basically kaiju number 8, but it's a woman, and it's, in my opinion, a bit funnier, a bit more silly. By the end of volume 1, she's basically just been recruited. But yeah, I don't remember if they're kaiju or aliens, but she's kind of been inhabited by one of them. I kaiju or an alien, and they're kind of sharing a body at the moment, and he's like, the kaiju alien is kind of trying to fight for control. I'm gonna put it in, like, again, maybe a higher B tier, because, like, oh, I could have all the yellows. Look at all this yellow. Yellow covers my favourite because they feel the rarest, and then here I've got 3 touching. I've got Merry Witch's Life. I can't move it down just to have the yellows touching. Skeleton, Cursed Blade, something. This is a C tier. It was fine. I can't remember if it was an isekai, but this skeleton basically gains vague sentience, because skeletons are meant to not really have any thoughts, and this one suddenly gains thoughts and is able to wield this cursed blade, because the cursed blade is like meant to melt your flesh, but he doesn't have any flesh to melt. And then it just so happens that the blade is a booby woman. It's not even the first series we've gone through today that has that trope, is it? That's kind of funny. I think a reason I ranked this one a tier higher than the other one, which was the cursed sword, is like, she's obviously trying to like put the moves on him, but he is a skeleton that doesn't care. And I'm kind of thinking, actually, I should have been picking up more volumes of this, because I especially towards the end, he's like trying to pick up and sweep up more enemies, like powerful bosses and stuff to fight for him, building an army, and I was enjoying that. So I'm actually now thinking I should definitely try and pick up some more, because like I feel like her flirting and being like promiscuous towards the skeleton is like a losing battle. Fortunately, in like 3 volumes time, he gains flesh in some capacity just to bone his sword. Imagine that. Pink Candy Kiss. This, I don't know where to put it. It's a GL between women, adult women, a GL between women. I've been filming this video for a long time. It is a GL between adult women, is what I was trying to say. One of them is married, the one on the left, and they kind of loved each other when they were younger, but like didn't talk or think about the feelings. I think from what I've read so far, it's all been like kind of emotional, and it's all been a bit awkward, spending time together. I don't know if I would have put it in C. Maybe a low B. I would have put it in a low B. It's very pretty. It's probably my favorite bit about it, is that it's a very pretty series. Rock is a Lady's Modesty. This was kind of funny, but again, not like, I wasn't blown away, so we're gonna put it low B. It is about a couple people. Blah blah blah. It's about girls at an all-girls school, and it's like a prestigious, fancy. The nobles and the eloquent ladies go to this school, and some of them have a secret, and that secret is they love rock. And a couple of them band together basically to play rock together. One plays, I think it's a guitar or bass, I don't remember, and the other plays drums. And when they're playing and like trying to have like a riff off or whatever, and they're just like screaming abuse at each other, I was like, it's great. But I don't think it's like, I don't know if I'm at a point where I'd recommend it. I also don't know if it's a GL. It might be like a GL adjacent, where it's just an all cute female cast, like Laid Back Camp and New Game and Bocce, except they're a little less cute. They're all sweating and swear at each other. There's a wonderful like full page panel with just one of the girls giving the other one a massive middle finger. Assassin and Cinderella, A tier, mid-low A tier, I think. I'm gonna put it like here. It's about this woman who has been assigned to this assassin, and she's meant to be an assassin herself to keep an eye on him, except he's figured it out, but doesn't care because he's head over heels in love with her. She doesn't really believe him at first and is like a bit more like awkward, pushing him back, not interested, don't do this. It's like one step off being smutty as well. You don't really see anything smutty, but gosh, does the outfit she wears leave very little to the imagination. I do think the art style could potentially put some people off, though. It's quite, I don't know, scratchy. It's a bit scratchy. The lines aren't like completely smooth. I mean, I don't mind. I've quite liked it, and I've thought it's been quite cute, like with her hair. She has like big curly hair. I mean, like the scratchiness I think aids with that. I think it's down to you. Yet another costume change. I am very, very tired. As you can already see, I've been clearing my shelves for an upcoming video because we're moving rooms. It has been a long time since I last did some of this. I'm going to see how much we can do this evening. I'm desperate to try and finish it, and then it's all done because I've kept this tab open on my PC for like 2 weeks now. Right, okay. Wet Sand. Wet Sand was real hot. Didn't really follow the plot. So it's going to be like a mid-low B tier maybe reading more, I'll follow it more and understand what's happening. I understand it's a me issue again. It gangsters, tattoos, BL, plastic wrap, smut. I mean, it was great to read, but I could not tell you what happened. Second Alpha was another 7Cs BL one-shot in a large format. It's telling about a guy who finds an Omega. It turns out the Omega had been paired with an Alpha before. Unfortunately, the Alpha had passed away, and it was like a really interesting kind of take. I've not really read, I don't think I can think of any other manga or even like fan fiction where I've been reading Alpha Omegaverse stuff where like we've had a second Alpha come in for whatever reason. This was definitely one of my more enjoyable ones. This is going to be a higher B tier one. I'll put it just behind No God Needin because I think comparatively of the two Omegaverse I preferred No God Needin, but still there. Lady Devil. I was kind of surprised to see how much love Lady Devil has. It is like a hot pile of mess. There is all sorts of trigger warnings. These two are twins. Smutty. There's demons. There's a lot of misogyny. I've only read the first one. So again, I'm probably putting it in like a higher C tier. I'm probably going to put it above some of these like fantasy steamship stuff, sort of office steamship stuff. It was just a good pile of hot mess. Is good the word though? I don't know if good's the word. Something arousing priestess. I feel like the title is slightly deceptive. I feel like I expected it to be more steamy than it actually was. Basically, this priestess like heals people. And in healing them, she increases their vitality. Is that it? And it just makes them a bit horny, basically. And that's why people associate her with arousingness. I thought it was okay, though. There was like a couple of like golden panels where the thing said just like probably made me snort, but otherwise I thought it was fine. Still better than a couple of the steamships though, so I can go very, very middle C tier. Yakuza Guide to Babysitting. This was very sweet. It's probably a low B tier though. Again, falls into that vein of like Yakuza or mob characters in a role that is more sweet and heartwarming than you would potentially expect. And it's literally, as the title suggests, members of the Yakuza are babysitting. I think it's like the boss's daughter, maybe? It's just very cute and very sweet. There isn't really too much to it, but it's just nice. Missing O. I was really caught unawares by this one. It was the first webtoon steamship that I read. I think it might actually be the first webtoon steamship that they brought out. Must say, the artwork on the cover does not match the artwork on the inside. The inside is a lot more like cartoony, I guess. It reminds me more of graphic novels over the sort of artwork you might see in manga or manhwa. Basically, this woman had an amazing one-night stand and has been chasing that high ever since, and is slightly trying to track down the guy who she was with that night. Hence the title, Missing O. She's trying to track down that O. I think I'm going to put it in like a high B tier. It's definitely, I think, on the higher end for steamship titles because there is also like story alongside and it isn't set in an office. She works in a bar or something. But we also have stories surrounding her friends and what they're up to in their love lives. And a lot of it is really, really messy. And I kind of appreciate that. I feel sometimes in steamships, it's like it all goes way too well and everyone is swept off their feet. Whereas Missing O, there is proper problematic relationships. Things go wrong. There's toxicity. There's all sorts. And it's different enough that I appreciate it more. Mika's joined me. I think I have both cats actually. Yeah, I have Yuna down here and Mika now up here. Mika might come and join me on my desk. Okay, next we have Loving Moondog. Now, I've read 3 volumes of this now. I think it's actually improved on me. It's picked up on me. At the start, I wasn't really into it. And to be honest, I'm still not really into the romance. What I'm really enjoying is reading about the grooming. Some context first. That sounds really bad out of context, doesn't it? So the female character is a pet groomer. She grooms dogs. I think it's just dogs. Maybe she does cats. I don't know. And she happens upon this dog who also turns into a man. And the man on the cover is the one that turns into the dog, and she's now looking after him. Honestly, I'm completely unfazed by the romantic relationship. It's not plastic wrapped steamship title. they barely smooch. She's way too awkward and embarrassed for that. But I'm really enjoying, like, when she's doing the grooming and stuff, and we've got to see lots of cute doggies in the manga, so when we get volumes focusing more on that, I enjoy it more. Rating it wise, I'm still probably going to put it as a high C tier. It probably started as a low C tier, and it's creeping up with each volume. Monster Marriage Shop, F tier. F tier. Had some of the more disturbing things that I've read in manga, even including Faku. There was a couple of things in it where I was like, no, this is crossing the line for me. There is a bingo board. Didn't like that. And like, there's so many trigger warnings. There's so many trigger warnings. If I was gonna say please look it up, but also please don't look it up. I just don't recommend unless you are into like proper gross sexual stuff. Don't. Basic premise is this guy is a matchmaker and he's been asked to come live in this secret monster village in the middle of Japan and try and help pair up people in there. But so far I think all of them are like just gotten attached to him. But he has like severe mummy issues and he's very open about it too. And that's like only the start. That's like scratching the surface of, yeah, just don't. It was gross, real gross. My Beloved Supper. This is a one-shot vampire story, and I'm gonna, where have I dropped it? Where did I leave? I don't know, where's it gone? Ah, there it is. I'm gonna put it in a low A tier. I really liked it. I was quite surprised as well, it being a one-shot. Basically, this vampire really wants to eat human food because it looks amazing, except if he hasn't drunk blood recently, if he then eats human food, he gets sick. So to be able to eat human food, he needs to go and find a meal first to quench and hold back that nausea. And he doesn't really want to do it, so he tries to target terrible people to do it. And it just, every chapter is kind of like, oh, that food looks great. I'll go find some terrible person to clear off the street sort of deal. But it's only one volume, and I am a bit of a sucker for series with food and a hot vampire. It's a double win. Futari Switch. This, I believe, is the same person as Prison School and is equally as bizarrely degenerate. And there's this, like, I forgot what it's called, ribbed cucumber melon thing. I've completely gone blank. I think it's melon. Bitter melon? Is that what it is? Not ribbed? It's a body swap between a guy and a girl, basically. And it has something to do with this bitter melon. And why I feel like everything I read that is in some relation to do with someone from prison school, there's always a whole bunch of stuff to do with pee. I don't get it. Why? So it's gonna be like a higher-ish D tier, maybe? Yeah, I think. Super Bowl Girls. Is this also a prison school person? I'm not sure. This was also equally weird and very sexual. These bowls kind of appear on this guy and then they kind of become women. And all the women want to do is smooch him. But smooching him might cause more women to spawn. Low C tier. It was almost so wild it was funny. But it's also very bizarre. It's also taken ages for another volume to come out. I think it's just come out. I kind of have questions. I'm vaguely, like, into it for, like, the mystery. What are these girls? What's going on? But it is very, very sexual. Why have we had a whole bunch of sexual ones all at once that have been really weird? Have I got a cat under my feet? Duranki? Right, so in the interest of fairness, I'm not sure if it's fairness. No, this is my own personal tier list. So Duranki is a one-shot story from the creator of Berserk. It is created and based off scripts and sketches that he had produced before he unfortunately passed away. The issue with it is a one-shot, but because he passed away, there isn't more story to it. This is it. There's just the one volume, and it does kind of semi-end on a cliffhanger. I honestly felt a little bit indifferent to it. Having more might make me enjoy it more. But what I did think was interesting is if you look at the volume, if you do happen to see it out and about or own it, it looks quite thick, but actually a decent chunk of it, maybe a quarter to a third of the volume, is notes and sketches originally left from the original creator. And what's kind of interesting is going through them, the story is quite a bit different to what eventually this story became. And I'm reading it, I'm like, I don't know if I'd have enjoyed this more than kind of what they ended up going for. I don't know. I'm kind of interested what the thought process was to decide to put this out and do this. I haven't really looked into it more to like how involved he was before he passed. Like, did all of this come about afterwards based on like finding sketches or talking about sketches? I have no idea. I've not looked into it. I'm very ignorant on it. If someone fancies letting me know, I'll probably look it up after this, to be honest. But because of that, I'm probably gonna go like again, a higher D tier. I just don't think we got enough, and we're not gonna get enough. I think it's probably something put out for people who are big fans of Berserk. I have not yet read Berserk. Ben has. Maybe I should get Ben to read it, and I just wasn't the target audience for it. Snowball Earth. This is like lower mid A tier. I saw someone describe it as like Kaiju number 8 meets Komi, and I kind of get it. So all of these like alien things are attacking Earth, and they're training up people into these like robot machines to go out and beat them up, and this kid is like a prodigy. Things go a bit wrong, unfortunately, so he kind of like self-destructs the robot he's in to like kill off loads of aliens. But his robot, who like they've developed to rapport together, like ejects the seat he's in a little capsule to head back to Earth to save him. He gets back to Earth and sees that some form of eternal winter has fallen. A large amount of humanity is dead. The whole of Earth is covered in snow, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. But also, he spent his entire life growing up fighting kaiju in this robot. His only friend was this robot. And he's also now he promised the robot before he got ejected, I'll try and make a friend. So he's now trying to make friends on this Earth that is now covered in snow. But it looks like there are these creatures that kind of look like kaiju or the aliens or whatever that people can control, and yeah. It's quite fun. It's quite a bit more action-y than I expected. I was going in pretty blind, to be honest. I read 3 volumes of it at once, which was quite nice. I definitely recommend that many. That was fun. Okay, I didn't know if I should tier list this or not, because technically it's just an ongoing. It's just Boruto. And they've done the very, very annoying thing that they didn't do with Shippuden, and they've restarted the numbering, which is really rude for my spreadsheet. But yeah, I did a big binge of Boruto. I read like 8-9 volumes of it towards the end of last year. I love Naruto. I know Boruto gets a lot of flack. I enjoy Boruto as well. So this is probably going to go into like a mid to high A tier. I just really, it's especially Naruto being like one of the first manga I ever read and owned. It was the first manga I read and owned alongside Love Hina. It's just got such a soft spot. Such a soft spot. My Boyfriend is a Dog. I read this really early in January. I remember it being really, really cute and lovely. And just, yeah, this guy, his boyfriend is a dog, and he's like a proper little golden retriever kind of guy. And it was just really, really cute and lovely, but there really wasn't much more to it. It was quite a thin volume, so I'm like trying to decide. Probably like a higher B tier. Yeah, higher B tier. It was very cute. It's just sort of a romance BL-ish story. Super String, Marco Polo, Multiverse something. Drawn by Bocci. I don't know what happened. It was so weird. It was so weird and confusing. This guy, like, was raising a cub and then went to another universe, went through, and then the cub was a girl. It's not even like I didn't really follow it. It was just really weird. Whoa, what's happened? I don't know where are you down there? I can see you here. If I drop you here. Okay. I'm gonna put it like bang in the middle of C tier, because like, I think I liked reading it, but I was so confused. I don't even think it's very long, which I think confuses me even more, because it feels like it's setting up to be something, and then it looks like it's complete in like not very many volumes. What It Means to Be You. This is a slightly darker webtoon. basically this woman is sort of married off to this noble. She's royalty and he's rich, and basically is trying to like marry in to get a title in some capacity, is what we think and what it seems like. Unfortunately, like as they get married, her brother like dissolves the nobility system or something. And the guy is right pissed off, and she's like, well, I'm not worth anything, am I? And then a number of years go by, she's not treated well by his family. He is always absent because he's working, and she's had enough and decides to put an end to things. And then for whatever reason, when she does that, the two of them swap bodies. She's in his body, he's in her body. And then hence the title, What It Means to Be You, they're kind of starting to see like what it's like for the other to live, what they're going through and all that jazz. And they're starting to really see each other for who they are, spend more time together-ish. I've only read 2 volumes, 3 has just come out. I've quite enjoyed it because I don't think it's like it's not like really mushy. It has its dark moments. We do seem to be starting to fix some of the communication issues, which is a major pet peeve of mine. That all seems to have happened prior to the series, prior to us getting to it, which is vaguely fine-ish. I think I'm going to put this in a B tier, like around here somewhere. I feel like, because I keep putting stuff higher up, it's pushing other stuff down. We'll check at the end what it all looks like. Roses and Champagne. This was another like sought after BL webtoon that we got licensed last year. It came out this year. Well, 2025, my year. It's still 2025 in my head. Roses and Champagne, I think, was my least favorite of the 3. I'm trying to check where I put another one to compare. Probably lower B. It's not like, I don't think I hated it. I'm not that bothered yet. Maybe a high C tier, actually. There wasn't really too much going on, really. Mafia bosses, lawyer, mafia boss likes the guy. I need more to kick off. And I've been told that it does kick off more. Some people have said that it's a slow-ish start, which is fine. So for now, that's where it is. But everything is up for moving over time as I read more. The Summer You Were There. So I promised Liddy I would read this. It's a 6-volume GL. It is miserable as heck. Basically, the brown-haired character is very, very ill. Very, very ill. It's not got long left. And is quite smitten with the grey-haired girl. And they kind of they do date? Do they date? Or do they just... I don't know. It's very, very sad. And ends in the way you're probably going to think it's going to end. Did I cry? Yes, I cried. Liddy just wants to make me cry. I don't like crying at all. I avoid series like this on purpose because I don't like crying. I'm already emotionally in a black hole. I don't need to read more things to make it darker. What I'd say is I did think it really did paint the characters well. I did feel like I understood and I saw the characters, not even just the main couple, but the ones around them as well, both for their positives and their negatives. So probably, I don't know. Put it in between the steamship. Putting it in between the steamships feels a bit wrong. Maybe a bit further down here. Because I did enjoy it. I just don't think it's as much for me. But I'm really glad I read it because I did it. And I'm also glad I held off reading it till it was all out, because 6 wasn't out when I started picking it up. But yeah, it's very sad. My cat is such a weirdo. This is an S tier. Probably bottom of S tier. I'm a bit more biased. I managed to get my mother to read some cat manga because she was ill and in hospital and needed some entertainment. So I took a cat manga and I gave her this one. This was one of the ones I gave her to read and she really liked it. She read through it and would be interested in reading more, is what she said to me. She said she enjoyed this one the most because she related it, because all of our cats are weird, shit little weirdos. And it also had like pictures of her cats and her parents' cats and telling scenarios that her cats have done. And she just really enjoyed it the most. So not only did I like it because cats and the cats were weird and there's pictures of cats, but it's helped me bring my mother one step closer to potentially engaging more in the medium. Hime Gaseki Sakuraku is a hot mess. I read a lot. I think I said, I'm losing track because I've been recording this for like 2 weeks on and off. I think I said though that I read a bunch of high school romances where the male lead is really bland and generic and the female lead is hot and awkward, and they all just blur together and I lost interest. Saying that, I think this one might have been my favourite. I'm hoping I've not said that about another one. I remember saying 8 Meter Tall Girlfriend was my least favourite. I think this one was my most favourite. I'm going to put it in the lower end of B tier though. It was silly. She really is a hot mess. She is just, how does someone function like that? Saying that, I'm not rushing to stay up to date. It's the sort of series I'm going to find secondhand. It's 7 Seas. I'll find it in sale sections. I'll find it pre-owned. I probably will pick up more of that if I see it. I'm not sure if I'm going to rush for some of the others though. Do So Without Love, I Am Divorcing You. Only read first one. Yeah, they basically, this woman gets engaged and technically married to this guy without actually being able to meet him because he gets sent to the front of a wall pretty much the day they're meant to get married, but they still kind of get legally married somehow. Wasn't too clear. But all she wants is a divorce. She does not want to be married. She just wants to be free. And it's taken years for him to return. She's been living with her in-laws during this time, and they've kind of grown like a camaraderie, and she's been starting businesses and making money for herself. And he's come back absolutely looking forward to meeting his wife. He's kind of one of those like cool, collected, grey white hair kind of guys. And she wants to divorce now that he's back, and he's like, hell no. So it's just some like awkward stubbornness relationship. I kind of liked it. If it drags out, I'm going to get annoyed though. Also has a light novel releasing. So probably like, again, mid to upper B tier. Because yeah, it's my kind of thing. I'm not like outstanded by it. Dashing Zaddy and his Icy Protege. This was really funny-ish. Really funny-ish, what's wrong with me? I've only been going like 35 minutes and I've lost all use of my words. But we are going to get through, we're going to do this. Okay. Again, I think I did enjoy it. I enjoyed 1 more than Volume 2. Volume 2 probably pushed it down a little bit for me. I'm going to put it in mid B tier. Or lower B tier, actually. It's an office romance BL-ish where the icy protege has kind of the hots for the older colleague who is very dashing and loved by all, but has some issues, and the younger guy is trying to offer to help. It's quite amusing. Oh, Spacewalking with You. I don't know how to rate this one. I talked about it in such length in my reading vlog for the month I read it. An issue I have with Spacewalking with You, and I've had it with other series in the past, is as someone who is on the spectrum myself, reading about it, I am incredibly picky. There are series I've read where there's been representations that I've just not liked. I don't like how it has been done. And then there are representations like this one where there are enough... What's the word? There are enough elements to the story that hit a little bit too close to home that I kind of love it and hate it. I don't necessarily want to be always reminded of some of the struggles I have in life, whether you can... I'm reading it in a manga form like this. Like, yeah, there were parts where I was like, this is so familiar. This is a situation that I could probably think has happened to me like a dozen times. And it's like, gosh, I feel seen, and also, how dare you remind me? And I know people respond to that differently. There's going to be people who listen to me say this and it's like, well, that means they've done a good job, right? And sure, they've done a good job, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have enjoyed it. I also really, really enjoy astronomy. If I had not done a computer science degree, I would have done an astronomy degree. So that was also great for that reason. Volume 2 I do think is out. I haven't picked it up. Again, because I'm like every day I kind of yo-yo on, I hated it. No, I loved it. No, I hated it. No, I loved it. So I think, to be fair to the series, I'm going to put it in a low A tier. You go at the bottom of A tier though. But it's such a personal thing as well. There's going to be people on the spectrum who read this and are like, I think this is a bad representation as well. Which is, again, fine. For me, it was, don't remind me. The princess I loved in my past life is now a middle-aged dad. I do think it was a title where the title is one of the best parts of it. It's not bad. It's fine. Princess and a knight were in love and they couldn't be together. They said we'll be together in the next life. In the next life, the knight is now walking into school and he sees a girl that looks like the princess and gets all excited. It turns out it is the daughter of the principal, and the principal is the princess from their past life. But the knight does not care. The knight is like, I don't care what you look like, I don't care how old you are, I love you, I'm gonna look after you, and we can be together in this life. Except the princess has now lived as like is now like a 50-year-old man, has lived as a man for all this time, and is like, it's inappropriate. They do also say pretty quickly, this is gonna be a slight spoiler for volume 1, that the girl who looks like the princess and they say is the daughter is actually his niece. I can't remember if his sister had passed away and that now they're looking after the kid, but basically the princess has not been in a relationship their entire life because they loved the knight, basically. And it's just a whole bunch of silliness about the knight and the principal, but that doesn't, it's very silly. Again, I'll pick it up in sales sections. It's going to be a higher C tier because I was amused, but it wasn't necessarily good. Sketchy! This is about, or at least from volume 1, a woman who decides to start learning how to skateboard. Well, actually, not just a woman. There's a few women who are all kind of going through something, and for various reasons and ways all seem to find themselves at the same set of lessons to learn how to skateboard, and the end of the volume is all of them like kind of stood next to each other in the same lesson. I've only read the first one, but there's like 6 out. I was surprisingly drawn in by the story, like much more than I expected. Sometimes with just sort of these like kind of slice of life, but like it's less jolly maybe. I kind of find a hit and miss. It more depends on my mood, unfortunately. So I try to be more careful on when I read them because I want to be in the best mood possible I can be to give the series as fair a shake as I can. I was surprised. You know what weirdly also I think helps me enjoy the series is I really like the feel of the volumes, that kind of like textured matte. I just find really pleasant to hold when I'm reading. Also, one of the volumes is a really nice shade of blue. Beautiful. Not that that necessarily contributes. Uranai Tsukiyoko's Happy Hell. This is a arranged marriage-ish matchup between two heirs of big conglomerates or companies in Japan. One's to do with oranges and the other's something else to do with food. And they're kind of against it at first and they're both stroppy, and then they kind of get into it and they kind of actually kind of like each other. And now they're dating, but they're also both a little bit stroppy, him more so. This is a low A tier. This was quite fun, a fun read, but I don't think it's like, I'm not sure there's anything too much about it where I'm like, damn, but it was still really fun. Slightly smutty, but not enough to be plastic wrapped. Adult romance, and it's not completely set in an office. There is office elements because they both like work with their companies and stuff, but we get a lot of time outside the office as well. I feel like that's where a lot of the progression happens. My Dad is the Queen of all VTubers. This was like a very lower C tier kind of series. This kid learns that the really popular female VTuber is actually his dad, and his dad wants him to keep it a secret. It's a comedy. He also learned that his mum is trying to be a VTuber but is really bad at it and everyone hates her. It's only completed 3 volumes, so I should try and finish reading it this year, but it's just a fun comedy. It's really silly. Desperate March for Love, D tier. I didn't enjoy this one. It's a high school GL and I just didn't enjoy the characters. I didn't enjoy how obtuse one of them is, or it purposely trying to like seek the attention of the other one, kind of leading them on a bit. And I feel like there is a bit where we learn about one of their past relationships, which is a very inappropriate one, and I feel like we kind of gloss over it, or we kind of pass it off as seeing them as sort of an actual potential rival and not what it actually is, and illegal, and probably calling the police. The only bit I really liked about it is we have like a couple of pages at the end of the volume where the couple are still together. We see them as adults. I enjoyed that, but I just didn't like the characters in this. It was just not a pleasant or fun read for me. Spawn me please, Hinamori-san. This is also D tier. This is lower D tier. It's a GL, and I just hated the dark-haired girl. She's like this prim, proper student council member everyone adores and admires, but when she's with Hinamori-san, she turns into a brat who whinges and complains and just wants attention. And I'm sure, again, lots of people enjoy it. That's absolutely great, fine, wonderful. Not for me. I hated it, and how she acted just annoyed me. So D tier. But I didn't like. It's not an F tier. There were some bits that were fine, but I didn't enjoy it, and I'm not picking up more, unless it's like a pound of volume. Wild Roses and Pretenders. Do I have a lot that I didn't really enjoy in this end? I feel like I was overly kind in the first half, like before tonight, and now I'm like, just gonna complain everything. Am I just in a worse mood? Because I don't plan out what I'm gonna tier things ahead of time. It's all off the cuff, vibing in the moment. This is probably a lower C tier. It's a fantasy BL, dark moments, some trigger warnings. Please do look them up. The guy, the younger guy is like a peasant or a commoner. I can't remember exactly what, and a lot of people are looking down on the noble guy for bringing him in and potentially wanting to make him something more. But it was not overly memorable in my opinion. It's completed 2 volumes. It was fine. Fine. A bunch of trauma. Lots of trauma. If you're into your BL trauma, that might be for you. My Dear Detective. This was also fine, but I found it really slow to get through. I just couldn't get it to click for me. So I'm gonna put it in like a lower C tier. It's kind of just sort of, yeah, as it says, detective, these 2 characters trying to solve mysteries-ish together. But I just, for some reason, couldn't click with it for some, unfortunately. Might give it a few more volumes, give it a go. I think it's not actually, it might be complete now. I'm not sure how long though. I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons. This is also a low C tier. It was fine. This girl has spent like her entire life training to be the princess, and then seems to think that the prince might have decided to marry someone else, and she's like, I'm free, and then leaves and runs away, and then just like moves to a random village and starts fishing. It turns out he hasn't wanted to marry someone else. It was like a friend or something she misunderstood. He desperately wants to marry her, but she's had enough. She's like, no, I've been doing like 18 hours a day of lessons for my entire life. I just want to be free. I'm not doing this anymore. But he wants to marry her desperately. So he's kind of like trying to kidnap her, keep her in the castle. Some of it was still cute if you can look past the kidnapping and, you know, imprisonment. I didn't even necessarily hate it or think it was bad. I found it a bit really. My Death Flags show no sign of ending. This is my kind of series. We've got stats, we've got abilities, we've got level ups trying to solve magic, and we haven't really got anything too creepy yet. So this is a higher B tier for me. This guy has been isekai'd, I think. I can't remember if it's a novel or game, but he's desperately trying to not trip any death flags, kind of similar to some other ones like My Next Life as a Villainess. He is isekai'd or playing one of the like evil bad characters, so he's trying his best to not like deter too far away from what he's meant to be doing in the story, but also being a good character and setting up a good nest egg. Is that the word? Money. If things go wrong and he has to flee. We've got a real scroll to get down here now. My kitten is a picky eater. I have only read the first volume. I got real sad because it like doesn't start happy. He finds the kitten. It's not doing well. It's struggling to eat because bad things had happened to the kitten involving food. So it's basically him trying to prepare and sort food in a way that the kitten will eat it. I vaguely related, not because thankfully my cats have not experienced bad food, but they are incredibly picky eaters, aren't you? Oh, she looks so cute. I feel bad now. So it was really interesting just reading that, talking about what sort of foods cats can eat and how to prepare it to make it more like appetizing for them, because it's genuinely a struggle I do have with my cats, and I found it interesting to read to try and implement to help adjust my cat's eating habits. I need to read more though to make sure it stays happy though. This is a higher B tier. Cats. My Life as an Internet Novel. This, I think, is Ink Pop, so sister imprint to Ink Lore. It is a very similar premise to Romantic Killer, which has had a lot of controversy. There were things I hated about Romantic Killer. My Life as an Internet Novel has taken out all the things I hated about Romantic Killer, so I kind of enjoyed it. Obviously, it's aimed at a much younger demographic than this old woman nowadays, but it was still a fun, cute read. All these guys seem to love this girl who's been isekai'd into this novel. Wait, no, she's not been isekai'd. Something's happened, like something's like a switch has flipped, and her world is now like she's living in a novel, but she's not actually been isekai'd or transported somewhere. Things have just changed in modern day Japan, and she's very confused, and she's like convinced things are gonna go back, but we do get a time skip in this in volume 1, which goes like a couple of years later, and things have stayed the same. She's very confused. I think there are 4 guys, and she has a female friend as well, but it is like she turns up to this school and this girl is there who's like, I've been your friend for years or since childhood, and she's like, I've never met you in my life, I don't know who you are, and it's all like really weird. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happened. Maybe it's another weird fairy thing like in Romantic Killer. But yeah, what I hated in Romantic Killer was this like weird trying to encourage her to breed. Ugh. Taking a cat away. Ugh. We haven't had that in this one. No cat's been taken away as far as I can tell, and there's been no mention of breeding. So I'd say this is like a low A tier. I was quite sappy for it. Villainess is a marionette. This is very pretty. This is very pretty. Very, very pretty. Story-wise was probably like a low B though. It was fine. Fine. Yeah, she's back in time, so she's had a terrible issues with her brother. I think he's the one that has her offed the first time around. So she's trying to vaguely stay away from him, be a bit more distant. It's not quite working. There is some questionableness, mostly coming from the brother, to be fair. And then another guy, a Duke or some capacity, who seems to be quite fond of her. She's not really picking up on it yet. Seduced by the Demon King. This is a very similar plot to... Where's it gone? Where's it gone? The Demon King is way too overprotective. It's basically the same plot, except they're adults and it's a steamship. So this woman was the saint and the Demon King fell in love, and then she died, and he's now crossed to another world to try and find her and her soul, and then they get jiggy with it, basically. I've enjoyed it more the more I've read, so I enjoyed volume 2 a lot more than I enjoyed volume 1. We are getting some drama, we're getting some action, as well as the smut. So this is probably like... Where's the other steamship I have in this tier? Oh, there's At Your Service. I'm gonna put it like here-ish. It's definitely gone up. It's definitely gone up. Watch me read volume 3 and hate it. My Name is Zero is a video game-ish isekai. Basically, when you sleep, you go to this other world and you can do things and earn money, and it comes over to the real world. It is cancelled or incomplete at 2 volumes. It also just wasn't very good. The best thing about it is the volumes. Like, it looks like a PlayStation game box. It looks pretty cool on the back as well. It's insanely detailed. Bravo to whichever publisher it was. It's a shame it's cancelled, and we'll never, like, there's all these ads that his sister's in a coma that he might have caused. People who die in this dream game world might die in real world. It's all, yeah. So probably a high D tier-ish, because I just, yeah. My New Boss is goofy. This is an A tier. It's like BL adjacent, because it's not really a romance, but it's pretty much an all-male cast. And they're just being super cute, and his boss is super goofy and silly and adorable. So the guy on the left with the brown hair was in a toxic work environment. He was getting like stomach ulcers. And then he moves jobs to this place with his new boss, and the new boss is great, adorable, cute. It's very episodic, it's very lighthearted, but it is lovely. Right, the younger knight takes care of me in another world. This is a reskinned Beans. Like, the plot is Beans. He's not an accountant though, he is a pharmaceuticalist? Chemist? I think I pronounced pharmaceuticalist wrong. chemist, so he's an apothecarist in this world, like Saint's magic power. But it's beans. It's someone speedrunning beans, but not well. Like, initially, like, I can't tell because I love beans. Do I rate it high because it's like I'm rereading beans again? But also, it's not great, so do I shave it? Put it in F. How dare you, Sally Beans like this? I'm probably like a higher C tier again. Mostly because, like, yeah, I love beans. It's a reskin beans, but it's completed 2 volumes and I have completed it, and I actually had to check that it was complete because it just doesn't really have an ending. It just stops. There's many things that aren't answered. There's many, oh, that was strange. Well, let's move on then. No, what about questions and answers around this and all that jazz? We seem to have just completely forgotten about the girl who is pulled through a hole with him. She wanted to go home. What happened to that? I don't know what happened. I don't know if they were like, shit, someone's getting onto me and noticing that this is actually just beans. Gotta wrap it up. I think this is Natsume Wants to Be Trained. I quite like this one. It's a BL 70. It's one shot. But I got it after, I think I got it around Christmas time. So it wasn't part of my like big tranche I'd done before. This guy wants help with smuttiness and he hires someone to do that. And they get close. I quite liked it. It's definitely on the upper end of ones I'd enjoyed, so mid-lower B tier. King the Land. I feel a bit bad about this one, and I think the person who drew it also felt bad. So some people might know that there is a K-drama with the same name, and it's to do with a K-drama. But what I didn't know until I read it was this was meant to serve as like an accompaniment to the K-drama. It's complete in 2 volumes, and basically it reads real weird. So volume 1 and a good chunk of volume 2 follows the characters as children, where the girl is the daughter of so the girl's mum works on the land house where the boy's parents own. Does that make it? I feel like I phrased that terribly. So when the mum's working, she brings the daughter, and they ended up hanging out and being friends and spending time together. Things go a bit wrong, and the mum has to quit, and they don't see each other again. And then we kind of follow a bit of their story, which kind of leads to where the start of the K-drama series. And then we have like weird time skips until the end of the volume, where we've got like an ending. And I was so confused. And then I read in the back from the artist that this was meant to serve as like an accompaniment to the series. It wasn't allowed to have any spoilers. It wasn't allowed to cover anything that the K-drama really did. There's like a couple of scenes and that's it. And they understand that a lot of people got very confused and felt it was rushed and jumpy, but that they were just doing what they were kind of like hired to do, basically. I can completely admit that I go into and read series blindly. Maybe if you go and look at the series, it talks about that. So that's on me. Completely okay with that. But I just felt a bit bad in the back. This artist being like, I'm really sorry that you feel it's rushed. I get it. I'm sorry. It's kind of like what we were going for. Like, we couldn't tell the story that the K-drama was doing. How do we avoid that? Well, let's go back and tell a story of them as children. Possibly. I did kind of enjoy it until like the ending of the second half volume 2, which got a bit weird. I had started watching the K-drama, but I have not gotten very far through because I find it hard to find time to watch things while not doing something else, and if it's subtitled, I need to be focusing. I have to multitask a lot to get everything done, basically. So, maybe a high C tier again, and I feel a bit bad for it. If you've watched the K-drama, maybe you want to give it a go. It's only 2 volumes, at least in English print. But I wouldn't recommend it unless you have already watched it. Guillotine Bride, D tier. So weird, so sexual. Apparently only complete in 2 volumes, and I don't understand how. I haven't picked up volume 2, even though that'll be it, because I just thought volume 1 was that bad. Something about marrying this dragon lady to save the orbs or something another, and then there are other women who embody animals of some capacity. Yeah. Ada Banner. This is the story of a girl talking about / confessing / looking back over why she murdered her friend. It is quite a dark story. Like, so I like murder mysteries. I really like murder mysteries. I watch a lot of murder mysteries. American, like, weekly murder mysteries is some of my favorite TV shows to leave in the background while I'm working. And I did kind of like this one. I think my, like, only negative about the story isn't really about the story. I think I'm probably going to put it in, like, I've put B or A? I think B. I think my only real negative about the story is there is a lot of concerning elements and trigger warnings, and I feel like I've not really seen many people talk about it, and I find that a bit disappointing, especially for how explicit and vivid they are. I would kind of hope to see more people be like, FYI, there are some dark elements, please just look into it. But especially when it first came out, all I saw was, this was amazing, you should read it, it's great, it's a murder mystery, and then not really too much more. I have seen some more recently, especially with Volume 2 coming out. I don't mind reading those kind of things, but if someone else had just seen some of these reviews and like, oh, okay, I'll read it, and they weren't okay, I'd feel really bad, basically. If someone watched a review of mine not realizing that there was something potentially concerning they should look into, and then read it and got distraught or upset by it, and then there'll be people, I know there'll be people who are like, well, if they're that worried, they should look into it. I would say reading reviews of people who read it is kind of partly looking into it. And especially, I feel with the sort of videos and talking reviews I do feel a part of the onus on trying to highlight, hey, I think you should look into this potentially. I don't have to necessarily say what it is or why, just point people towards Storygraph as well. I think that's like personally where I like to push people towards. I like how they do the content warnings on there. And then it's up to people to decide if they want to go and look themselves. If they choose to not look, then that's fine. Even if there's just one person who hears me go, hey, I think you should look at this, and then they do, and then they realize, okay, this probably isn't for me because of that. At least I'll be fine with that. Neighborhood Craftsman. This was an S tier. I loved this one a lot. Probably at the bottom though. It's still, yeah, it's a hardcover volume. Unfortunately, it looks like there's only the one volume out, even in Japan. And we're just following characters who are good at their craft. Each chapter, we've got another one. We have someone who made barrels or buckets. We had someone who fitted and fixed tatami mats. We had like a multi-chapter on plastering. It was just really interesting seeing these crafts. There wasn't really any intensity to it. It was just a skilled tradesman, their craft, and then us watching. I felt like I was actually watching alongside them, and I really, really liked it. And I'm just desperately saddened that we have only got the one volume for now. Wolf's Daughter. C tier, lower C tier. I didn't hate it, it was fine. This girl has never felt quite right, and she is in the mall or something, and this guy is nearby and stops and is like, hey, I know what you are. And then they meet up later and he's like, you're a shapeshifter, or you're a wolf, you're a werewolf, and then kind of shows her how she can shift basically. And then he's like, so my family run a winery, they grow grapes, I've forgotten how you pronounce it. They grow grapes, and did she want to come and see and meet other people like her? And her parents are a bit iffy because it's quite a travel. They're like, why are you going there? And the excuse she tells her parents is it's part-time job over the summer and such. And her parents are like, okay, that's a bit far. Are you sure? Can you not get a job locally? She's like, no, this is what I really fancy trying. And they're like, okay, well, you go have a look, see what it's like. And she goes and she meets other people, and they're all wolfy people too. And then she keeps going back because she feels comfortable, she feels happy, and then starts to like fail at school and is like, I'm going to drop out of school and go live there. And her parents are understandably concerned. I would be if my kid is like dropping out of school to go live at this like winery. It sounds like you're joining a cult. And then there's some oddities because it turns out you have black werewolves and you have white werewolves, and she's a grey werewolf. So what does that mean? I've seen a lot of love for it online. Don't think it's bad. I just don't think I was like really into it with just volume 1. Wanna Be My Dress Up Lover, another 70s BL one shot in large format. This was one of my least favourite ones, mostly because it surrounded coercion. and blackmail. This guy learns that his colleague works at a cross-dressing bar, I think, and then basically uses it as a blackmail reason to sleep with him. It just felt a bit yucky, really. Oh yeah, some of it's cute. Okay, I found it a bit yucky. So probably a higher D tier. Destroy all humans, they can't be regenerated. This is the Magic the Gathering manga. This follows a couple of high school students in the 90s. I can't remember if magic was kicking off or getting bigger. The girl is trying to hide the hobby. They run into each other at a game store, a card store, whatever store it is that's selling the cards. She's there playing games and he turns up and they're like, oh shit. She's like, keep my secret, and then they start hanging out basically. I am furious at this series. It's hate A tier. I am furious at this series for actually making me interested in magic. I have avoided magic like the absolute plague because I could not afford to have another time money sink on my hands when I've already got at least 2, Manga and Miku. Manga, Miku, magic. It's the M's. I can't be doing it. I know multiple people are into it. I have multiple people that I work with that are into it, and I'm on calls with them, and I was talking to one and he knew of this manga series, and did you know in the back of every volume, or at least the ones I've read, there is a magic card? And he wanted those from me, and I was like, no. Well, I think that is really cool though. So if you ever see these out and about and they're plastic wrapped and you're like, oh, it's because they're naughty. It's not because they're naughty. It's because it's got a free Magic the Gathering card in the back and it's to stop people nicking them. But I really, really like is that the price isn't any higher because of it. Sometimes I'd worry like if you get a bonus, it's going to cost a little bit more. But no, they are still $10.99, or at least at the time of right now. And I appreciate that. I think it's a really cool, like, neat thing. But yeah, I'm really mad because it teaches you about the game. I know more about the game than I ever did before, and I found it interesting, and I'm very mad about that. How dare they lure me in with manga. Vampire in the Bathhouse. I loved this. So this is going to be a high A tier. I don't feel like I want to put a one-shot in S tier. I know I've put series in here where I've only read volume 1. Vampire in the Bathhouse, I just thought was really funny. I loved it. It is, again, it's kind of BL-y. Nothing, like, completely outright happens. But, like, it's heavily hinted, suggested, and also the vampire wants to bone the guy. But they don't in the volume. The vampire turns up to this bathhouse and is like, it's got healing properties. I'm going to stay here and try and figure out why-ish, and then becomes attached to one of the guys who works there. I can't remember if he like owns it or just works there, but it's just a very silly, fun vampire in modern day Japan living around the bathhouse. And I just really loved it for some reason. Yankee and Caramelize BL one shot from Yen Press. Is plastic wrapped. There's mild smut at the end as your reward, I suppose. A big chunk of it is about this guy who looks like a delinquent but really just loves baking. And this guy at school helps him start making content and videos to post, to promote and share, make some money, go big kind of thing. And then they start liking each other and get together. Not groundbreaking, and it's a one-shot. It's fine. I kind of almost wish there wasn't smut in it. It felt like one of those put it in at the end because, like, that's the reward. I would have rather they just not, and we had another chapter of them baking a cake together. So a low B tier, I think. Bottom of the B tiers. Sweet Room Escape. Another 2-volume BL that I read quite close to. Where's the other one? Wild Roses and Pretenders. I enjoyed it a bit more than Wild Roses and Pretenders, but not too much more. I liked volume 1 a lot, and then volume 2 I'm not that bothered. This guy travels the world for work and has a friend in every city. Except he ends up meeting a guy who might be more of a long-term friend, and it all gets a bit, like, confusing in the feelings, and then yeah, they get together. It's 2 volumes long. Volume 1 where they were, like, chasing each other a bit was fun, and then volume 2 they kind of like, it feels like we were just getting extra drama because we've got another volume, and I was just less fussed or bothered about it. You Will Become My Wife, F tier. I hated it. This is a steamship. It's a one-shot steamship. I really detest it. I disliked the characters. She fell head over heels over this guy when she first sees him. He has no interest in romance or marriage. And just feels like she will do anything he wants, and he's incredibly derogatory to her, puts her down. Is just like, is that a woman's place? Should a woman be doing that? I was so mad. I remember like the last time, like all the other steamships, like us, some of the ways the women are treated, not great. But this one, I wanted to throw hands. I was so mad reading it. Actually actively angry. Just felt really, really rude. I was going to say, do I have the volume nearby so I can try and flick through some lines? But I don't, unfortunately, because as I said, I've held off so long doing this video. I've taken so long to do this video. I'm already moving things through to the other room, and I think loads of my steamships are already through there. Anywho, I hated him. Witch's Life in Mongol. This is an interesting read. The art style as well is quite different to a lot of other manga series that I've read, and I would say that, again, it reminds me quite a lot of like sort of more on the graphic novel side of style. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just interesting seeing different styles, because I don't feel like you see drastically different ones that much nowadays. There are some people with more iconic styles like Bocchi, and I'd say the mangaka for Promised Neverland are quite like kind of striking. But outside of those, there aren't too many. So this one was kind of interesting to read because of that. But it's following this woman through like the Mongolian Empire. That kind of time period, that kind of setting. Things are not going great and they're trying to survive, basically. I did quite like it. I remember reading going, I wish I had a map. I'm not following what's going on. And then at the back of the volume, there's a map. I have volume 2, but I haven't read it yet. I think for now it's going to be a higher B tier, and I want to read more to see what I think. Fragrant Flower blooms with dignity. There was a lot of hype for Fragrant Flower and Windbreaker last year. I can't remember exactly if it was the mangakas were at a Comic-Con or they were promoting in some capacity. I don't remember. But I decided to give them a go. I managed to read some Windbreaker already, as I think I've already tier listed, and I was not that fussed. Fragrant Flower, I really, really loved Fragrant Flower. I thought it was lovely. I thought it was cute. I thought it was pleasant. I liked both characters. I love the girl. I love her face. I love how expressive she is. I love her hair. I love that they bonded over cake and pastries. And I love that I saved enough volumes. I think I read like 5 or 6 volumes in a go. And I think that was a really good amount to read together. I'm kind of now holding off to read like in pairs of 2 to 3. I'd say this is like a mid-A tier. This was a really delightful romance between sort of a Romeo and Juliet style story. He's from the bad school, she's from the fancy lady school, but she's there on a scholarship, so all of her friends are worried if the school finds out that she's trying to date this guy from the bad boys school, she's gonna lose a scholarship. So, but he's so cute, she's so cute, everyone's so cute. The wrong way to use healing magic. I tried to read a bunch of Isekai during Isekai month, which was July. I failed quite spectacularly though. It was a very busy month. I was working through the night a number of those days. The number of days I saw the sun rise while writing documents. Yeah, so I didn't get as much reading in Isekai read as I hoped. Hopefully this year will be a bit more kind. But this is one of the ones I read, mostly because I have the end of the alphabet by my desk right here, and I could see it, and I was like, well, I'll read that one, it's right there. In this world, to be a healer, you need to be basically a big buff dude. High stamina, high strength, because to be able to get to that point in the battlefield where someone needs healing, you need to be able to like punch your way through everything, which I thought was mildly hilarious. But I think that's the only bit about it I liked or engaged with. The characters are fine, it's okay. There are other characters that are isekai as well, there's a group of them, and I didn't like any of the others that much, so probably sort of a mid-ish C tier for now. I'll read more, see if I enjoy more, but yeah, it's definitely a sale section series currently, and I don't intend to change that. No spicy romance allowed. I think this is another 70s BL one-shot in the large format. This was, I believe, an actor or an idol and their agent. It was kind of cute. I can't remember if there's more to it. I swear there was something else going on in the gimmick. It was fine. So with C tier, oh, it is struggling a bit when things jump around. At least we're near the end. At least we're near the end. I've been recording for like almost 2 hours. This evening, that is. I'm gonna put it down. I'm gonna put it in. Yeah. Put it there. I'm looking forward to seeing how long this recording is. Anywho, not so shoujo love story. This is also an S tier. It is so dumb. It is my level of humor. It is toilet humor. It is dumb humor. It is silly humor. It is childish humor, and I am here for it. I believe it is a manga. It's a webtoon manga, I think? Maybe? I love the 2 female characters. I love the male guy as well. Handsome Chin Chin with his pointy ass chin that does not stay within the bounds of the panels. It is just... the comedy sings to my soul, okay? And I remember reading it and I was like, this humor is like so great for me. I wonder what other people think. And all the reviews were like, this is so dumb. It's so stupid. How can anyone take this seriously? I don't think that's the point. I don't think you're meant to be completely honest. If you're not a fan of dumb, toilet, silly, childish humor, then you probably will hate it. Marriage to Kitsune-sama, this is a D tier. This was another 7C's BL one-shot in a large format. At first it was probably fine, and then as it went on, there were bits about it and elements about it I just wasn't a fan of. I don't like how young the guy looks. I don't like that we learn that the Kitsune-sama has been in love with the boy since he was a wee child, and was like, I'm gonna wait for you. That feels real gross, and it's like, I know they're yokai and spirits and all sorts. I don't see why it was necessarily needed. I'm sure there's other ways we can tell it. It's not for me. Not a fan. Now that we draw, this is another one of those high school romances with a sort of bland male character. It got a lot of hate earlier in the year. It's getting or had an anime. It got a lot of hate because the guy doesn't come across well very early in the story, or at least in volume 1. It gets a bit better in volume 1, but basically both characters, the male and the female, want to draw manga. They both want to draw romance manga, but they're both told by their editors that it doesn't feel like the way you're telling your story, you actually know what love and romance is. Maybe that's something you should try and experience before you try and show it off in your stories. So they decide to agree to pretend to date and experience romance with each other so they can, draw it. Oh, but I mean, look at the cover. Why? They're so shiny. Why are they so shiny? I just can't get past it. And yeah, so initially the guy's manga, he draws females as like really quite pathetic and quite like, it's quite sort of incel-y behaviour. And some of the hate on social media has been like, it's really gross how the guy acts, and then the fans are like, well, he changes his ways quite quickly. And he kind of does. He kind of sort of sees the error of his ways. I wouldn't say enough by the end of volume 1, but there's a bunch more volumes out and I've not read them. Maybe he is an absolute saint by the end of those. But still, I wasn't rushing or wanting to read much more, so probably again, a lower C tier. Some of it was quite, what's the word? Endearing. Some of it was endearing. Them, like, encouraging each other with their manga and going with each other to visit editors and stuff. It was really cute and sweet. Age them up a bit or something, or make her a little less booby for how young they are. Please, 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 please. Yukarism, 4-volume complete. This was one of the very first series I read in January, and one of the first series where I was like, I'm just gonna do a binge of volumes. And I read all 4 volumes in a day or so, and I did quite like it. It's probably a mid-ish B. The premise being these two characters in modern day kind of have like a tie to a person in the past, a few hundred years ago or longer, I can't remember. And they keep like their consciousness keeps like swapping between the modern day and their past self. And the male character in the modern day is using this experience to write novels basically and stories. And then we're trying to learn what's going on, what's with this connection, where has it come from, what's happening, what's happened to the characters, what's happened to the characters in the past. And I enjoyed the drama. We had some like real like fighting, drama, mystery, and it's complete in 4 volumes. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it higher. I'm gonna put it in a high B tier. I'm gonna put it high B, not mid B, high B. I don't know how easy it is to pick up nowadays. I picked up all of mine secondhand, I think. But it was a good read. I enjoyed it. Oh, I'm getting so tired, but we're so close to the end. So we gotta get there. We have Wanted. One Piece. This is a one-shot selection of one-shot chapter stories from the creator of One Piece. I had the same problem with this I have with a number of other collection of stories, in that some of them I really enjoyed and some of them I really, really didn't. I really enjoyed the one with the bank, and the like samurai dragon. That was fun. And it was really fun reading Romance Dawn, the origins of One Piece. I would say probably a low A tier. There are still some that I didn't enjoy in there, but if you're a fan of One Piece, definitely give it a go. You can see how different the artwork used to be as well. Otaku Love Connection. So this story is around, there is this high school couple and they are much beloved. They are very romancy, they love each other very deeply, and we follow characters who ship them. We follow characters who ship this couple in high school and just absolutely love that they're in love and they're together. I think it's a bit weird, a bit uncomfortable. I'd find it really uncomfortable learning people like acting the way they do about me, like, or a real person. I just don't think it's my kind of thing. It was like kind of cute, and they do find out and they're kind of like not too bothered. She's not that bothered. He's a bit like, fuck. Especially as at first he thinks that they have a weird thing for her, and he gets mad about it, but no, it turns out that just they love to ship them. It's probably a low B tier. Because like elements of it, I just like, well, I don't think this is for me, but then elements for it like, oh, that's really cute. Wonder Cat Q-chan. This is so cute. There's also loads of really frequent emotes of like a cat clapping, and it turns out it's Q-chan. It's adorable. Q-chan just wants to be loved, and all cats deserve all the love. You can go under the other cat manga as well. I am missing only a couple of volumes. It's complete 8, and I need to grab 7 and 8, I think. But it's just cute. Cat with owner. Cat is a bit more competent. They're not really that cat-like. They'll like make the bed and cook dinner and stuff. But they don't really say, I don't think they say anything. It's only the owner that really speaks. Yakuza and his Omega. Probably a lower B. Mid B tier. Higher B tier. And end of the high B tier row. It's a steamship. A Yakuza Alpha accidentally runs into and finds his fated Omega from Smell, and they're very happy together. It's kind of cute. I was hoping it was going to be a bit more passionate, more kidnappings and action and stuff. It's not really so far that much, unless I'm misremembering. I might have an unread volume actually. Hopefully there might be some in that, but it's mostly been surprisingly cutesy. Painter of the Night. Oh, dang. All the trigger warnings. Of the 3 like highly sought after BL webtoons, I think this was my favorite. This is my favorite. Yeah, many trigger warnings. I would look into it. Not complete consent. Stuff like that. The guy on the left in the picture did draw erotic paintings of men, and the guy on the right liked them and wanted more, but the guy on the painter has sworn to not paint anymore, and he's trying to convince him to paint under threatening of death, basically. High B tier. Wall-E. It's just another retelling of a Disney movie that skips over like half the actual story. Recommend it to your kids to indoctrinate them. It can go next to Monsters, Inc. I was a bit less mad at Wall-E over Monsters, Inc., so it can go ahead. Phantom Busters. This was the last volume I read of 2025. I was really pushing to try and read one more. I don't remember why. But it was the last volume I read, and I really quite liked it. I really quite liked it. It's probably going to be a low A tier. Here, A tier. You can go here. Basically, this guy comes from a family who beat up phantoms and ghosts and all sorts, but for whatever reason, he can't see them, and he ends up relying on... Oh wait, no, am I mixing up characters? One of the characters can't see them, one of them can, and one of them eats them. I can't remember who's who now. The guy with the tongue is the one that eats them, and he's the one that comes from a family of phantom busters, and he like eats the spirits and stuff. And they're kind of trying to form like a group to beat up, get rid of these phantoms, or solve their issues, as one of them does. One of them finds that just talking to them and trying to solve their woes helps. Tokyo Fierce Rhapsody. I've only read the first volume. We have got 2. I'm trying to remember what it reminded me of. Maybe another kaiju? Number 8. There's been a lot of kaiju recently. This is a higher B tier. It was... I remember I enjoyed it. I remember I liked the characters, and I thought the main guy, the one on the cover, was funny. But I can't off the top of my head remember much more. Sacrifice of My Manly Soul. It is an all-girls school, and the principal thinks it's funny to get boys to join but dress them up as women. It is surprisingly sexual in nature, but like comedy sexual. Basically, one of the girls finds out and blackmails this guy into letting her see him nudie, because she's too curious, and she's like, you can see mine too. And then it's them trying to stay hidden so they don't get expelled, because it's also a really good school, and they get money, I'm not too sure. I did kind of find it funny. There are questionable moments, definitely questionable moments. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I did kind of find it funny. So on the like higher end of B, I think. Not rushing to grab more yet. Sale section for now. Red River. I should have rated this with Colette. I read this and I think Colette almost back to back. I was surprised how much I enjoyed Red River. It is so dramatic. It is so dramatic, and I am here for it. I love my dramatic. There's like some slight fantasy elements. It is quite dark. The little boy, it was really sad. Not sure I'm a fan of the main character. Like some of their choices. I understand they're young. But gosh dang it. The main thing I have mild trouble with is the chins. Why are they so pointy? Was that just the style back then? Was anything else I read back then that pointy? I feel like my eyes are like itchy reading and looking at those chins. But otherwise it's going to be a high B tier. I quite enjoyed it. I should really, really read more. Reincarnated in a mafia dating sim. And then the massive long subtitle. I think this is in some capacity something to do with the same author or person who did Seventh Time Loop. It's my kind of thing. I enjoyed it. I've only read 2 volumes, but yeah, this girl's isekai into a mafia dating sim that she's played, and she's trying to avoid all of the love interests and accidentally falls in with like the villain guy, the bad guy that everyone thinks is like dodgy. And is the cause of ending roots and stuff. Fantasy, drama, romance, lower A tier. Yes. Victoria of Many Faces. This girl, Victoria, is a really good assassin / spy, but she wants out, so she sort of rebrands herself as Victoria and escapes, and she quite quickly ends up looking after a child and is being courted by a knight. It's all quite amusing and quite fast going. I quite like Victoria. It's quite fun. I think I'll put it in I've only read one volume, so I'm going to put it in like a higher B tier for now. Steel of Celestial Shadows. Probably a mid C tier. It was fine. This guy is trying to be a samurai, is not very good at it. For whatever reason, when he touches steel, it bends. So he's not really been able to make a living. And everyone mocks him. But for whatever reason, this woman like turns up and is like, yeah, let's get married, I'll marry you. And he's like, okay, sure. And they do. And then she gets kidnapped and he's going to chase after her. It turns out there might be more supernatural things at play. And like all of that should scream a sort of story or series that I really enjoy. I enjoy when we've got like a regular setting with more fantasy elements around the edges you don't quite expect. I just couldn't get into it. I might give some more volumes a chance if I see them discounted, but for now, I'm not going to rush to grab more. I only have 1 and 2, and that's all. That's what I read, and it's up to like 8, 9, maybe. sex drive. This seemed to be about like espionage and people pairing up to like espionage into things, and then the pairings all keep ending up pairing off and boning. Volume 1 was one pair that worked at this agency, and Volume 2 was another pair that worked at the agency, which was kind of nice seeing like different dynamics between characters. I'd still say like, where are some of my other steamships? Where are they? I think I enjoyed it more than Sweet Heat. I think it's probably going to be a B tier. What have we got in B tier? Okay, probably a lower B tier. I don't think we've really got any lower B tier steamships. That's where I'm going to put that one. Snow Angel. This wasn't A tier. Snow Angel was delightful. Well, not delightful is not the right word. It's following this character who is overwhelmed with the dependency and guilt from wanting to run away from a family that is reliant on them for help. But the family is not kind to her about the help needed to look after her bedbound grandfather, about her grandmother who's quite like shouty and abusive and like trying to make her feel bad for it. I think some of the imagery used to try and show how the character's feeling from being overwhelmed after all this for decades, I don't know, for years, and being stuck underwater, feeling trapped. This is like my life, and I can't leave because then I'm letting the family down. I can't be doing that. And then a childhood friend comes along and kind of helps pull her out and lifts her out the water and is like, no, you need to live your own life. Like, yes, your family, it's good to help your family and support them, but when they are not, but when they're treating you like this, it is understand and needing to be able to walk away if and when you're able or need to. And it's very short series. I think it's completed like 4 volumes, I want to say. 3 has come out recently-ish. And a shoujo beat. Again, nice reading a shoujo beat that isn't just set in high school and has some slightly darker themes to it. Stardust Family. I found this a compelling read. It's a big chunky all-in-one omni from Yen Press. I read it all in one evening, but I didn't like the ending. There was a few things I feel like they could have done differently. They left it a little bit open-ended. I wanted to see one scene or one panel, and they didn't give it to me, so I got a bit grumpy about that as well while reading it. I'm going to say a lower B tier. I think it was an interesting concept in that you could only have children if you are able to get a license, if you're deemed a good enough person to be a parent. And they have these Stardust children. They have these children that they send out to check the decision making. And it raises a whole lot of like interesting conversation points, like allowing the government to be a deciding factor in if you're able or allowed to have children. And then what are these children going through, going into these families, experiencing homes, be it good homes and bad homes, and then just being taken away and put into another one. There is some weirdness towards the end. I'm not going to completely spoil it because it did feel a bit like, what? I guess enjoy it is probably not the right word. It was, I think, interestingly written. Suitable Fetish, another steamship. There was a lot of steamship, wasn't there? I feel like every time 7Cs do like license announcements, there is another one. So I'm not surprised we've had this many. This woman has a book of positions and wants to try them all out, basically, and she convinces someone she works with to do it with her. You do follow other characters and pairings throughout the story as well, which is kind of interesting. All going through their own things. It's not plastic wrapped, if I recall correctly. You don't see too much. I kind of like it, though. I think it has its ups and downs. There are volumes where I'm like, I'm not that fussed, and then other volumes where I really like it. So I'm probably going to do like a mid-ish B tier. It's higher than Sex Drive. Teogonia, new series from Panini. This is an isekai. This guy is in this like fantasy-ish world, and he's kind of slowly starting to gain memories, but not like memories of a past life. He's like suddenly remembering like words and things. So he'll be at one point being like, what's a mitochondria? Why do I have this word in my head? How do I know what a cell is? And then he's starting to feel like a bit reminiscent. He's like, why am I really wanting to go and see these fields that are over there? I've never been over there. How do I know there are fields there? So it's interesting in that the memory isn't like, I remember doing this thing. It's kind of like more, I've forgotten the word, like passive memories, remembering words and what things are. And there's this all like power system that he's like jumping through real quickly somehow. A fun isekai. Hi B. I'm gonna do this one next because I don't want to end on this one. I feel that time I got stuck to the guy I hate. Another 7Cs BL one shot in the lodge format. For whatever reason, these two guys get stuck together, and the only way they get unstuck is participating in some activities together. And it turns out it's something about like opposites attract, they get magnetic. I didn't really follow what they were trying to... I like the idea of force a situation where they're like touching, they can't escape, but then they tried to explain it and I got very confused. So probably like a lower mid C tier, higher C tier. Actually no, I didn't enjoy it as much as No Spicy Romance. You can go here next to Windbreaker. Our final volume, I can't believe we are here, is Tease Me Harder. It sounds so much more degenerate than it is. It's about a woman who's really into BDSM and is dating this guy, and she really likes him, but she doesn't want to lie. She doesn't want to keep it a secret, so she broaches it, but is terrified it's going to scare him away. Except he's like, okay, and thank you for being honest. Let's try and explore this together. And with a title like that, you do kind of expect it's going to be just like really kinky. And I guess to a point, but honestly, I would say it's more a story about like communication and consent, because that is like the majority of what the volume is. They are talking and communicating together. So towards the end of the volume, they do get to it for the first time, and it pretty much fades to black. So even when they're just like doing some regular showdown times together, it's not really like the focus. We spend more time communicating and talking about what are you comfortable with, what am I comfortable with, what are you wanting to do, what are you interested in, where are your boundaries. And she's like, I want to have my human rights taken away from me, and the guy is like, interesting. I am interested to see how it keeps going. It's not long, complete I think in less than 10 volumes. But I was kind of like pleasantly surprised. I assumed it was just going to be a whole smut fest, but really it was a lot of communication. I think I'll put it in a high B again. There's a surprising amount of smut in the high B. Yeah, I think a high B. Oh my gosh, we're done. I can't believe we're done. So let's have a little scoot through. S tier is quite thin. We have a bunch in A, we have a bunch in B, we have a bunch in C, and then less in D and F. We have more in F than I have in S, which is interesting. So generally I read a lot more last year than I did the year before, and even the year before that. And I've really also tried to read a lot more volume 1s. I mean, I think I've said like the last few years it's been like 150, and this year was about 250-ish. So there was a lot more to talk about. I really like reading volume 1s and then sharing opinions on like, do I think it's worth it? Would I say 3 for 2 sale? What are my thoughts on like how much I think you should spend on it? And I know everyone's gonna have different opinions. I know lots of people are gonna have different opinions to me. That's absolutely fine. And I'm not trying to upset anyone with my opinions on these series. If I've put stuff in like the lower tiers and you're like, that's my favourite, I'm genuinely really glad to hear that. The world would be a very odd place if we all liked and disliked the same things. Now I must say, I do think a lot of what I disliked was the demeaning to women sexually kind of series. And with that, it is 2 AM on a school night, so I should probably try and go to bed. Thank you so much for watching. This was painfully long. It has taken me a week, 2 weeks to record. I'm going to do my best to edit it. It's probably going to take a wee while to get it up, because I am going to endeavour to put pictures of the series above so you can see them, especially because earlier on they were really grainy for some reason. I don't know why. Would be interested to know your thoughts. Do let me know in the comments down below. Interested to see if you agree, disagree, hate, love my opinions. And if you haven't already, remember to like and subscribe. Otherwise, I hope you have the most wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!